It's time for the BSing with the Guys live podcast.
It's time. We are here. Unpack these crazy ass headlines the way we do it, unfiltered, unapologetic, BSing with the Guys. Let's get right into this shit, man. What do you think about the government for your safety and other people's safety around you, Justin, being able to basically turn your fucking car off? It's like what they're calling the kill switch mandate, basically. I don't know if you read up on it at all.
No, I did not, but that sounds honestly terrible. Sounds like
I'm waiting on you to say that sounds fun. That sounds amazing. Yeah, give the government,
just, No, that sounds absolutely like a. I mean, it's my car. I paid for it. Fuck you. You know.
Well, what they're doing is basically for drunk drivers. Okay, they're wanting to put into all the cars, all the vehicles, something that I guess scans you, like your eyes and shit, you know, and tries to guess whether or not you're impaired. So this is what they're reaching for right now. And they voted on this. The vote went down Thursday. 163 said they were yes to defund that amendment, all right, to get rid of that shit. Mm-hmm. And there was 268 that wanted to keep the funding for it. And out of those, 57 Republicans crossed the aisle to join. Every Democrat voted for it. So you got a lot of the Republicans who are, you know, supposed to be the ones that are on the side of less government now and, you know, and not infringing on people's rights. And for some reason, they went ahead and crossed over it and voted for this shit. And what they're, like I said, what they're basically trying to do is, I think it's just, I'm trying to remember if it's just the eye sensor, but it's passively like monitors your driving performance to detect if you're impaired and somehow detect your blood alcohol concentration, which
I don't believe them.
Yeah, I don't either. That's the problem, you know, because they said it's not some kind of breathalyzer you blow into. It's like a,
it's like passive
meaning,
yeah,
there's no active input from you. They're talking about sensors in the steering wheel that measure your sweat for alcohol and infrared cameras scanning your eyes for dilation. Now, I would assume that could lead to some sort of false positives, especially with your eyes.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it could. I mean, if you're tired driving, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
Like, regardless, even if it was a perfect system, it's my fucking car. Fuck you. They're going to start monitoring my Ring doorbell to make sure I'm not beating my wife, you know? Fuck off.
If you give them this, they may.
I'm sure they will. But it's like, what are they planning? I don't believe them.
No, well, that's the problem, is believing any of them. Now, I would assume this bill, like just about every other bill, there was probably more shit in this that the Republicans were, I don't want to say forced, but kind of forced to vote for because they wanted other shit in the bill. And that's the problem with all of these bills, you know, that you wind up with shit like this. But I was thinking, like, so what happens when your car shuts down because it doesn't approve of, you know, the way you're driving, or it thinks your eyes are bloodshot? So how do you appeal that roadside conviction, so to say?
Right. Or they know that you didn't re-register your car this year and they shut that motherfucker off until you go do it. Or they know you didn't get an inspection sticker, so they shut it down until you do, you know? Like, that's
kind of the thing. They're going to hide it under, oh, no, we're just looking for drunk drivers. And it's like, yeah, until you have that control.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you know, now I'm with you. Any other little, you know, any little reason they feel is justified to shut your shit down, it's boom, right at the fucking click of a switch, basically. And
yeah.
And not to mention, I mean, just the privacy, dude. Cameras watching your fucking eyes.
Everything.
I mean, sensors just sniffing your breath.
They won't even put cameras in cockpits of airplanes because all the pilots are against it. They're like, this is my second home. Y'all aren't spying on me. The voice recording is enough, you know? Like, I get it. Y'all have to do investigations, but no cameras.
I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense, you know?
That's why you never see any video footage of cockpits after a plane crash.
It's
The
always
pilots
just that
are
black box they're looking for with
Yep.
audio and just, everything else that the plane was doing computer-wise. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, it could be an economic hit. I mean, they're talking about the new cars costing more if they have to put all this shit in there. I mean, something's got to pay for it.
not me.
So, well, no, not you. But if they're forcing it in every single new fucking vehicle, well,
Keep them running, dude.
just keep your old
Keep
ones.
them fucking running, man. But like, I just think about it in the sense of like, California would think my car that I drive every day is the devil car, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, it's
souped up
not even
fucking
close
Camaro.
to passing any sort
Right.
of, even the most conservative fucking emission standards. Like, it's
Right.
so when you fail that, and they decide, well, you can't drive this car on the road anymore, and we're just gonna make sure that doesn't happen, and they shut it down.
And they shut it down. Or like somebody was talking about, I seen earlier, like you're speeding.
Yeah.
I mean, and now granted, they'll say, well, you shouldn't be speeding, but it's not.
Fuck them.
It's just too much power to give the government, and then this shit is passing. I'm not saying it's
That's
going to pass
crazy.
everything, but it's making its way. Like, it wasn't shut down, which it should have been. But
It should have
then
been absolutely, because it's like, I feel like it's sort of kind of crossing the line of unnecessary searches and seizures. Like, you
Thank you.
can't believe that I may commit a crime in the future and punish me for it today. It's not how that works.
No, that's that's like people who have already been convicted of DUIs where they're forced to do that kind of stuff. When now you're putting that on me,
Yeah.
like I was convicted already. And look, they are hiding it behind it. It's for the betterment of society. It's a safety issue.
Everything
and they
is.
start talking about how many lives it could save. And I get all that. I get it. But that's kind of like the whole, if you take everybody's guns away, maybe we can save some lives.
Yep.
But you just start infringing on people's rights, and for some reason, the government, especially the Democrats, which although there were some Republicans in on this, but they're very happy to infringe upon your rights. So this doesn't bother them at all because all of them voted for this shit. So I mean, they're basically saying that it could save 10,000 plus fewer drunk driving deaths. It could save over 10,000 people. That's huge. It's a lot of people. But is it worth the rights that people have to give up? Because like we always talk about, it never stops there. Never.
No, it doesn't at all. So how about you move the bar up and put it in the convicted drunk drivers' cars? I like that.
Well, they're comparing it to seat belts and airbags. I mean, do you think that's is that comparable at all?
Not even a little bit. Like, not even close.
Because that's what they're comparing it to. That it's just more, it's evolution of tech. A while back, some cars didn't come with seat belts. They didn't come with airbags. Well, now they do. But that's not an invasion of your privacy.
Right.
Is the way I see it. A fucking seat belt in a car. So,
yeah, no, that's, like I said, monitoring the driver with, what I'm assuming there's going to be cameras part of it, if it's going to be able to see kind of your eyes and whatnot. But I get ramping up like crash avoidance systems, where like if you're not braking in time, the car will do it for you. But that's exterior shit, and it's paying attention to exterior factors. So how about we put more money into that? Make sure I can't hit somebody head on when I'm fucked up or something, Not me, but.
Right. And it's not giving the government the power to control that car, which a lot of people say they have anyway, but all the OnStar and everything else. But I mean, they don't need any more. So
no, fuck no.
It's just nuts to believe that, people jump behind this stuff, man. And like I said, it's all built out of fear. It's based on fear. They scare you into giving away rights. And before you know it, you can't even open your car door without being watched and asking approval by the government, giving you approval to fucking do it. I mean, it's nuts, man.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that'll just be another way you think that'll be evidence against you in court if you were to ever get pulled over and arrested for drunk driving, which, like you said earlier, don't drink and drive. But regardless, it's like them planting cameras in my house tomorrow and just waiting years and years and years and years. And if I ever happen to commit a crime in the house, now they've got instant video footage of it. Like, oh, see, boom,
Sure.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Ring doorbells are next, and it's for your safety. That way, if somebody is trying to break into your home, the police will know. We're not going to spy on you. It's for your safety. That's kind of how I see this. Some people are going to look at this car stuff like it's not a big deal. It's going to scan your eyes. It's going to check your sweat for alcohol content. But it's you can never say it enough that it never stops there.
It never stops.
Ever.
They'll be driving you straight to the fucking police station soon.
Yeah. Yeah, which I guess it's all going to be, autonomous anyway. I mean, none of us will be driving soon if Elon has his way.
Dude, I saw that.
Yeah.
But it's like, so you mean you don't want to be safer and let the police have access to your Ring video and watch it live? If somebody's breaking in, we can instantly, see what the burglar looks like. And it's, I'm sure that's all you use it for, buddy.
That's how they look at it, though, dude.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Where were the Republicans from that voted yes on this? Because
they are well, we happen to have a list here. Let's find these assholes out. There's 57 of them decided, let's go ahead and do this. So these folks, let's see, Alabama, Mike Rogers, Jerry Carl, Barry Moore. So they had those. Arkansas, Arizona, California wins. It was Colorado. Ken Buck, he's retiring, but he voted, the names go on and on.
Are there any here?
Did we have any in Louisiana? Yeah. Steve Scalise.
I'm busting an email out tonight.
Yep. 57 of them. Cross party lines.
Dear Steve, how the fuck do you think
that's
this
what
is
people
right?
were.
That's what I want to know.
That's what some people were saying was call all your congressmen, man. Let them know. And like I said, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal because people looking at it like, well, it could save some lives. What's the big deal, you asshole?
Well, they're not giving
lives.
They're not giving me access to their private fucking lives.
No, they sure aren't.
You give me access to your fucking cameras, and I'll let you put whatever you want in my car. How about that? Give me the give me the Blink login and come on, put it in the car. That's fine.
I like it. Well, and like I said, a lot of it is like they pack these bills with so much shit that a lot of these people get they're twisting their arm because they have no choice, I guess, if they want shit that they want out of this bill. It's like, well, fuck, I guess I gotta. But they could have. I don't know, man. They need to just tear these bills apart. Stop having a dozen fucking things in one bill.
Yep.
And then just voting on this bill, just blanket fucking just yes, because I want mine. Which leads me to that other one that I wanted to talk about, which is it's HR 7148. All right, it's the so-called Consolidation Appropriations Act. Now, inside this big ass bill, there were earmarks, which are basically just loads of money going towards different things that these politicians want, right? So it could be whether they're looking to community projects or local hospitals, shit like that. Whatever the reason is, there's money in these bills that these people want. Well, the problem with this bill is it's including where they're going to continue funding transition surgeries for minors, gender transition stuff for minors, abortion-linked organizations that are taxpayer funded, and a lot of these DEI projects. They're going to keep going on with this. And what shocked people about this is it was 76 Republicans voted no as far as to take that shit out of this bill. So they voted no. Like to keep all this money going towards these things, such as gender transition surgery for minors. That threw a lot of people off.
What did they get in return?
Exactly, and that's the problem.
Did we get anything that's just mind-blowing for the fucking conservative side, or did they just fucking sell us for free?
Right. Well, here's what happened. here's what happened with it. It was basically Congress, they decided to spend, a ton of the country's money like they always do, and they say, okay, well, let's put this bill out. We got a lot of money that needs to go places. Well, the guy that brought it up, Ralph Norman, said no. He's a Republican congressman. He said no. Okay, we're gonna let's cut out all those earmarks, those all that extra money for all this bullshit out of this bill. Now, the problem with that is if he cut that out, everything was cut out. Everything else that these Republicans did want was cut out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all or nothing, basically. And that goes back again to where instead of lumping all this shit together, maybe we can get some decent shit passed and some ignorant shit not passed if they would stop doing that. But they do that shit on purpose. Yeah. Because now the liberals that wanted all this money for this shit are going to get it, is all it boils down to. I mean,
right.
He was basically saying, no, it's going towards goofy shit, not to mention it's $1.3 billion that is going towards this stuff. So all the Democrats voted no, of course, as far as no, meaning take that stuff out.
Right.
But like I said, the most shocking part is that 76 Republicans also voted no, and that's why the amendment actually lost. So that shit's going to stay in. And it was more of a, if my candy gets taken away, nobody gets candy.
Absolutely. And I think that's the problem with them trying to pass single bills, is they just know, like, nothing will get through.
Or everything will.
Yeah.
That's it's never just, down the line. It's either we got everything or we got nothing. So it puts a lot of these politicians in a fucked up position because of the way they do this, man. And it's purposely done because they could change that shit. They could vote on these things one by one. You know how many votes you could have in a day if you said, hey, look, we're going to break these down. We got 10 things in this bill, but we're going to vote on 10 things separate. It's that simple. Yays, nays. Boom. Okay, well, that didn't pass. That funding isn't going. Up next. But they refuse to do that purposely.
I just look at things like, the NFA tax dropping to $0. Had that have been a bill by itself being proposed, it'd have never passed. It wouldn't have went through. But it was wrapped up in the big, beautiful bill. So I guess they wheeled and dealed it out and got that part passed. So stuff like that is what I look out for, that it's like it almost has to be buried in a big bill. And here's what we want, we'll kind of mix it in, or it just doesn't get done.
Yeah, well, like you said,
it shouldn't be that way, but
right, but it's purposely orchestrated like that because you just said it. I mean, they'll bury that shit in these bills, and it's the only way stuff like that's going to get passed.
Yep,
and that's it, and they know that. So they sugarcoat it by a bunch of, the bill is basically about, helping mothers that are addicted to drugs. And everybody wants to help mothers that are addicted to drugs get off of drugs. Now, inside of that bill, we're going to take away your Second Amendment right. But don't worry about that. Let's help these mothers that have children and they're hooked on drugs, and we need to help these people. So instead of just saying, well, let's look at that as two separate issues, but they won't do it. And it's all purposely done, man. They act like this shit is more complicated than it is, but let's face it. I mean, it's really not. It's not. You separate it by issues and say, okay, who wants to keep funding surgeries for minors that want to have sex changes? Well, that's a very simple question. Very simple answer. You either yes or no.
That's
Boom.
it.
Okay, done. That could be done in 10 fucking minutes. Move on to the next one. None of this shit's that complicated. They make it sound like it is because they use a lot of big fucking words, but they're just people. They're not fucking like they're just super intelligent. Like they're fucking snake ass politicians, man. They ain't no better than me, you, or anybody watching this shit right now. They're no smarter than us, and that's it. They're just dirtier and more corrupt. But it doesn't take rocket science to figure out that we can make this easier when we're voting on these things. There's no fucking point in cramming 20 fucking things in a bill. That makes no sense, man.
It doesn't to me either. And it's actually funny because The only reason why the NFA tax had to drop, the National Firearms Act tax had to drop to $0 was because it was wrapped up in a big bill, right?
Right.
So originally it was written to where short barrel rifles, suppressors, short barrel shotguns were going to be completely removed from the NFA. And I don't recall the exact law that went around it, but it was basically he couldn't change a federal law through, a large bill like that. Like basically it would have to be voted on by itself. Gotcha. Just that in order to repeal the NFA or to get those items pulled off of it. So
right.
Being a big bill is the only reason why they're even still on there. But
they're even, yeah. I get it. And I wanted to pull that comment up. Somebody's so tired of one of our lies about trans surgeries. If it's a lie or if I'm mistaken, let me know. But in this bill that I'm talking about, I don't know what topic they think we were on or whatever, but there's no lying in this bill. It was helping with gender transition treatments / surgeries for kids under 18. It's in black and white. That Very was simple. In this bill. I'm not lying about anything. Also in this bill was supporting groups tied to abortions, which is whatever. The abortion debate is whatever, but it's taxpayer funded is where the issue comes in, because people who don't believe in abortions or don't believe in people having abortions, they don't want to pay for that shit with their tax dollars, nor should they have to. So I'm pro-choice. I don't give a fuck what you do. But I don't want to pay for you to just keep having babies and killing them. You know what I mean? So that's in this bill where a lot of that money's go towards that. And then they were funding what they called DEI programs, diversity, equity, inclusion. I mean, that was in this bill that all this $1.3 billion is going towards. So I'm kind of waiting on this person to correct me on what I said wrong about that. So the big bloated bill was over 1,000. What does that got to do anyway? So yeah, wasn't lying about any kind of with the trans stuff. That was the real problem with this bill. And that's what sparked all the outrage because of how many Republicans voted to keep that shit in there. And then when you start digging a little deeper, it's because they didn't want their money cut off for whatever programs they were trying to do.
Well, of course.
I mean, and it's like, oh, well, we want to, build a school or something. Well, it's not so much that they give a fuck about that school, but you know how many people they probably know that are going to get contracts to build this school? They're scratching backs. It's pleasing people in their areas, and people that have voted for them or donated money to them. The guy owns a fucking company that sells the bricks that now has this job to sell bricks to the people that are building the school. I mean, it all It all goes back to that. It's not that these people really give two fucks about what's going on, and that if we have another school in our community, it's that you scratch mine, I'm going to scratch yours, so now this bill has to pass because I can't let this money not come. There's going to be a lot of people looking at me like, say, bro, I voted for you. I thought you were going to get this stuff passed, And that's how this political game is played, man.
Yeah, I wish they'd look at everything like that past money. Seems like that's the only thing that gets anything moving is money, but it's like when we voted for you to change this or change that, but it's got nothing to do with dollars, it just doesn't get done.
Sure. And I don't want to put all of them under one umbrella, but it's hard not to, but it just seems like there's very few politicians that do anything out of kindness and just because they want to help the community. I mean, they say it. Most of them that harp on that, their communities look like shit for 40, 50, 60 years, if not longer. Just, i.e. any Democratic fucking city. You go drive through any Democratic run city. The same people that have been harping for decades about how they're going to fix the fucking place. Yeah, there's nothing fixed about it. We live right near one. We always tell people that. We live right near New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. Don't live there no more on purpose. But there. You could drive right through New Orleans. That shit's been Democratic run for decades. And they haven't fixed a fucking problem. They've done nothing but cause more problems.
Nothing
at all.
I will say the one that I commend, the one politician that like, hey, when I get in, I'm going to change this. And damn near immediately is our new governor. And he got in and almost immediately passed constitutional carry.
Yeah, but in what color was it?
No, I don't know what he's done since then, but.
I don't mean his skin
he's
color.
Republican. Yeah,
Exactly.
all day
That's
long.
why.
But he was like, I believe in this. When I get in, if it comes across my desk, it's signed, it's done, no problem. And like I said, it was almost immediate, and it was signed, it was done. Again, I haven't followed him much since then, but.
Well, if they have any intelligence, they can't do nothing at all for the voters. You know what I mean? They have to get in there and they have to get some things done. There's no doubt about that. It's just the majority of the shit seems to be financially motivated, you know, not so much of, I just want to make my place better for the people that voted for me. I'm not saying those people don't exist. It just doesn't seem like that's the majority of politicians. And you can tell by how they're live, you know, the way that they live compared to how the people that have voted for them lived. And it's nowhere is that more obvious than in a Democratic-run city.
Yeah.
I mean, it's facts. I mean, if anybody wants to dispute that in the chat too, have at it. But it's a fucking fact that the Democratic-run cities majority of them are shitholes.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like these politicians, it's like they get into it probably with a good mind of like, I want to make a change. I feel like most of them do, but the problem is that they've been in it so long, by the time that they get to a position that they can make a change, that they know how the game's played now, you know? So it's not like you have some, you know, random citizen off the street that comes in, runs for governor and wins and is like, all right, this is what we need to do. I'm not a fucking politician. Y'all tell me how much, and look, this is what I want done. Y'all make the plan around it, but this is what needs to get done. It's just they become politicians, you know,
no doubt,
from the start of it, and then eventually lose that touch with the average citizen, I guess, by the time they can make changes. And then it's just like, well, I got a promotion. Now I can make more money. Let's do it.
No, I'm with you. Well, first I want to shout out Matt. I see you in them comments. What's going on, Matt? Didn't mean to take so long to tell you what's up, but yeah, I think some of them may go in there with good intentions, but I think the system grabs them quick and they learn fast. If you want to stay around, we're not in the game. We're not in the game to help people. We're in here to benefit ourselves. You know what I mean? I think that's all that most of them get caught up in it. And if you want to make a career out of politics, well, you can't do that thinking about the people first. That's just not how it works. You know, you're not going to make it. And it's a shame because it shouldn't be like that, but it is. I mean, it really is. Look at all these higher ups in politics. These motherfuckers are living lavish.
Every one of them
preaching all this inclusivity shit and all, you know, we this communism shit on the Democratic side, and it's like, well, you're fucking worth $25 million. Give some of that up. You know what I mean? Open your fucking doors to all these immigrants you're wanting to come flooding over the fucking border. They're not
buy them a house. You got it.
Yeah, you got it. House them. Build them a fucking complex to live in right next to your house. They won't do that.
No.
You know, so. But yeah, I'm with you. I think there's a good portion of them might go into it with good intentions, but I think once you get onto the bigger scale of it, like as far as you start making it to governor and shit, you know how the game is played. You know how that shit's played.
If you don't learn, you probably get pushed out quick. You know, like imagine you're a newcomer in there and you're like, no, I'm going to make changes, and it's like, well, this is kind of how they get. No, I want to make changes. Like, we'll call you when we need you.
Yeah, I almost think that's what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she got it. She's getting out, you know. She's like, I'm done with this. Now, some people don't want to believe that, you know. Oh, no, she just, for whatever reason, quit, and she's getting her pension and all this shit because you only got to be in it for 5 years to be able to receive that once you get older. You don't get it right away. So it's not like she's just going to be living off of, you know, that. But the way she expresses herself online is that she's just fed up with it. She's calling out Republicans on all this shit that they're letting pass and all. She's like, the Republican Party's fucking, it's done. It's shot. It's just full of a bunch of crooks and they don't really give a fuck. So she's calling them out, you know, and she's getting out of it. And when you even, not from a politician standpoint, but Dan Bongino, he looked fucking miserable when he was up in there. And it's almost like maybe he was, I guess, too good of a guy to want to play the games, and he was being forced to when it came to all this Epstein shit. But you could just see it on his face. He was never comfortable, especially towards the end. I mean, he was complaining about it, how it's taxing, and I think a lot of it was, I think a lot of it was how when you get in there and realize what's really going on behind the curtain, and you're like, I don't want no part of this. Because not everybody's built for it. Not everybody's a piece of shit that can just stay in the political game forever. Some people have morals. I'm not saying that's Dan Bongino. I don't know. I don't know him personally, but it just seems like he got out abruptly for a reason. And I don't know if it had something to do with all that Epstein shit and just not being able to really do what he went in there to do, because he talked a big game. You know, he talked a big game. He's going to help. He's going to get in there. They're going to start arresting people. They're taking this down, helping drain the swamp, whatever, and wasn't able to do anything, basically. Nothing at all when it came to these big cases. So maybe that's what he saw.
So you think it was just really being held up? Like, because I know when all the Epstein shit was first coming out with this administration, not coming out, like we knew it was already news for a while, you know what I mean? But as far as like nothing was getting released and a lot of the blame was going to him, do you think it was his fault, or do you think he was legit being held up?
I think all of them were being held up. You know, I was thinking the other day, it just crossed my mind, like, what's the chances that everybody involved in the Department of Justice and even all the way up to Trump think or know that if we were to release that, our lives are really in jeopardy? Like, if it's that big with this Epstein shit, as big as what some people say it is, which is a worldwide fucking conspiracy going on, well, who's to say some of them didn't really fear, like, hey, man, I don't want no part of this shit. I'm not really, we can't release this. Right. We start telling this shit, next thing you know. Now, some people would say, well, Trump don't give a fuck. They tried to take him out once already. But once was probably enough. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it.
If you were really against the pedophilia ring and shit like that, and also like really in fear of your life, it's like, all right, I got to figure out a way to leak this shit.
No, true.
You know,
like whistleblowers.
Send it to WikiLeaks or something, like you could figure out a way. Well, I would assume. I mean, maybe they're locked down way tighter than I'm imagining, but it's like if you've got all this in years to figure it out, you could figure out how to leak it.
Yeah. Well, first, I like what Mike John said in the comment there. He knew his credibility was on line, meaning, Bongino, which that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, that I think he went into this with, a law enforcement background, like law and order, had some morals, went in there and realized these morals are getting you nowhere because you can't fucking use them when you're in politics. But to your point, I'm always caught between, were they afraid to release it, or was there nothing to release? And they built this up so big, and then when they got in office, they were like, hey, there's nothing here. This shit's gone. Because why would you leave that laying around? If you were any way, shape, and form, like, involved with this shit, being the last administration, if it's that big of a worldwide fucking thing and top-notch people, politicians, why would you leave that shit around? Why would you leave any evidence? I mean, it's kind of like the JFK files. Like, why would you leave that, knowing the CIA and the government and all was involved in that shit? Do you really think there's any JFK files that Trump claims he saw? I mean, so that's how I look at these Epstein files. I'm always kind of torn between, does it really even exist, and they just don't want to say that for some reason, or is it so fucking big that they're like, we cannot let this out? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, Mike's right. It's been covered up. Yeah, before Biden. I was just meaning the last administration had an opportunity also, and they didn't even talk about it. So it makes me wonder, like, was there anything even to talk about? They Matt, I got a whole fucking episode I want to do on aliens.
Oh, yeah. But we got a live coming for you, dog.
It's going to be too long to get into tonight, but man, do I have something burning at me. But anyway, it's like, I still don't understand why there would be an ounce of evidence left if it's that incriminating for powerful people.
But why not say
It's like when they gave them stupid fucking binders to all those content creators.
Yeah.
There was nothing in them. It was just shit that had already been talked about and released. Just nothing. It was just, like as Hillary would say, a bunch of nothing burgers.
If that's the truth and there's really nothing there, then I believe that they knew it before administration change. honestly.
You think?
I do, because for exactly that reason there, that they're giving, these binders out and shit and making it a press conference and not just instantly getting in and being like, this is what we have. The shit was scrubbed. That's it,
Right.
I think if there's really nothing there, they knew that there was nothing there, and just, we can run on this. It's like they've been holding these Epstein files and holding them. So, hey.
But why risk the and you may be correct. I'm just, wondering, like, why risk the credibility of lying the whole time instead of just saying, hey, look, these motherfuckers wiped out every ounce of evidence.
That's my point.
Like, why not say that?
Exactly.
They built that shit up. I mean, that Pam Bondi woman, that's all she talked about. Day one. And then she's like, the files are on my desk and we're going to release them within a week of being in office, and all this nonsense. Nothing. So I don't know. It's just,
that's exactly my point, is that
like,
how
do they think that?
Up?
Yeah. How do they think that made them look? That was horrible. Well, then you got Dan Bongino, like we were talking about. He's in there thinking, no, we're really going to do something about this. He's like, oh, wait, that's not how we do? Like, damn, I didn't know this is how this shit worked. I thought we were here to hold people accountable for their fucking, misdoings, but it didn't work like that. So,
yeah, that's the problem with the politics, is that anything that comes up like that, there's so much just plausible deniability. You can just blame it on Democrats, or you can just blame it on Republicans.
Yeah, you blame it on the last
administration.
You
don't have to take ownership of anything. You just say, well, they're holding us back. Sorry, whether it's true or not, because of course they're going to say, no, the fuck we're not, and It's like, that's exactly what you expect them to say. So whether they're telling the truth or not, nobody knows.
And that's kind of my point. Like, why not do that from the beginning when it came to this Epstein shit? Why not just blame it on the last administration and say, look, there's nothing for us to release. They destroyed it all. Then the other side would just say, no, we didn't. And it'd be like, yeah, you did. There's nothing here. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, then it would just be your word against theirs. And at least you don't look like a fucking liar like this administration does. I mean, they were full of shit the entire time with this Epstein stuff.
Yep.
And they're still, lying about it to this day. And it'll get brushed under the rug. It'll be talked about like we're doing right now. But it's like, to most people, there's just kind of like, I'm over it. I just think
they're trying to wait for us to forget about it.
Well, exactly. And most people do. The news cycle will turn over. Like I said, people are going to get tired of hearing about it. Like, oh, God, they're talking about the fucking Epstein again, And it's like, yeah, I get like that, too. I'm like, I get tired of seeing it and hearing. But then it's like, you can't just keep forgetting shit like that. That's why they're able to get away with this shit. Because they know if we just ride this out long enough, they're going to move on. They're going to go on. We'll find another fucking conspiracy to distract them with. Yeah. We'll start. We'll start ramping up fucking race bullshit in the country, and start riots or look at all this fraud going on over here. You know what I mean? It's like it never fucking ends with that, and people just move on to that. Then we all gravitate like fucking gnats to a fucking a flame. Like, oh my god,
absolutely, so fast. What up, Johnny?
Yeah, so it sucks that it allows them to get away with it with just our short memories, and everybody's just on to the next news story. And I mean, I'm probably just as guilty as everybody else, but that's why I like to keep talking about this Epstein shit. We should not forget about that, and we're not going to get into it real big tonight, but we should not forget what they did to us when it came to that COVID and that fucking that pandemic that they want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we got a whole nother fucking episode where we really want to fucking break down this dirty motherfucker Anthony Fauci, and that's something else you don't hear a lot about anymore. And there's no way that should be swept under the rug either. People should never forget what they did to all of us when that shit went down. But people will. They'll move on.
Absolutely. Only today can governments murder 20 million plus people and just nothing happened. It's all
nothing.
Good.
Yeah, nothing. But the problem is because half of the country believes one way, the other half believes another way. Meaning, not everybody's on board and saying that this shit was bullshit. Not saying that the virus was, but the way that it got out, for one, and how just the blatant fucking lies we were told, worldwide lies that are that were unraveled and proven now that they were lying. Well, half the country still believes everything somebody like Fauci said. And the other half is like, no, he's a dirty motherfucker. So that's why they're able to just move on, because you can't get everybody in this country to agree upon anything. Nothing at all.
Nothing. You put evidence out there and it don't matter.
Yeah, nothing. People they fight over anything. The Epstein shit. I mean, you name it. They're going to fight over it. There's going to be one group that, no, man, I think racism is great. And other groups like, no, racism is bad. Like, you can't even fucking agree upon shit like that. It's just crazy, man.
I just don't know how you see half the evidence that was presented and say, not.
Well, it's like, I think we talked about it last time, but the person in the comments claiming that the protesters aren't blocking roads, that we're out of our mind. I remember that every time, because it's like, to me, that's like we're arguing about what color the fucking sky is.
Right.
I'm saying that these protesters shouldn't be out there blocking highways. You're telling me that's not what they're doing. Like, that's never happened in the history of protesting lately. Like, what the fuck are you, like, what are we looking at? You know what I mean? We can't even agree that they're blocking roads.
And you can't even deny that evidence is there. It's like, it's video. We see it.
We can disagree on whether or not they should be able to, but to disagree whether or not they're doing it, I don't understand. It's like, who's the crazy one here? Me or them? Somebody's out of their fucking mind. You know? And like I said, it's like arguing about the sky being blue, and somebody, no, dude, that's fucking red. You're out of your fucking mind. That's red. That's how stupid of an argument that is. It's nuts, man.
I want to know if KRP is still in here. And did you call us liberals? I think we unlocked a new achievement, dude. We got called fucking whiny liberals.
That's the first time in our fucking, yes, I love it. In the show's history, we've been called liberals. Usually we're a bunch of MAGA, pedo protecting, fucking
Nazi
Klansmen.
fucks, yep.
Yeah.
No, we're fucking liberals tonight. Two whiny liberals. I like it.
I'll take it. Fuck it. That's funny, dude. I love that.
Dude, that's crazy.
Anyway, so where did this start off? We were talking about that bill that was passing where they're just voting to say, yeah, let's keep money going towards children having sex changes. Let's keep doing that. So
yeah,
that's nuts.
I wanted to comment on the money because I was actually talking to my liberal friend about the Doge and the USAID and whatnot, and just how he felt being on that side about the legit money funneling bullshit that they had going on over there. Like with you was talking about it the other day, something about raising donkeys in Kenya or something like that, right? Like shit like that. And his take, which actually kind of made sense, he says that he feels like it was like hidden shit, like it had to do with the CIA and trying to get people over to these areas. So they would basically bring the funding and send, government officials over there, but it'd be people from like the CIA, and they're trying to study an area or gain info or intel on an area. So that was kind of his take on it.
So your liberal friend was saying that they were, explain that again, like I'm five.
So like he's basically saying, I don't think the money was being funneled into politicians' pockets, but I don't feel like it was going to what they were saying that it was going to on all these crazy, money laundering schemes that we saw popping up. All the crazy names of them.
He don't think the politicians were benefiting from it?
He doesn't think the money was going directly into the politicians' pockets. Like if it's, $500,000 for condoms in Gaza, he's like, I don't think that $500,000 was going directly to a politician.
I got you.
But I don't think they were sending $500,000 of condoms to Gaza. And if they were, it was probably due to needing to get some form of government agency over there and closer to these people to gain some sort of intel. So it was basically a cover up to get our people over there. And I was like, that makes sense.
Interesting theory, but it's hard to believe that all of that money that was going out that Doge uncovered, that none of these politicians were benefiting from it. It's kind of like the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
Just the the millions that they bring in, if you think they're not benefiting from that foundation, then you're out of your mind, you know. And that's
that
what
would
a
be
lot
wrong.
of this, right? And it would really take finding out who was tied to these places where this money was going. But the problem is, a lot of it, there's not enough of the trail, I guess, there to really, you know, trace it back to a certain individual, because they were either sloppy and it was so disorganized, or they were good at covering their fucking tracks.
Right.
Or they're just not telling us. The government's not saying anything, you know, as far as what Elon and them uncovered. They could have had names, but nobody's been held accountable for any of it. All they ever said was that they cut a lot of the funding off, but never once did they hold anybody accountable. So I don't know if it's because they didn't know, or they're just protecting, you know, people that are in their, so to say, bubble, even though you don't want them stealing all that money, and that's why you got Elon in there, but you still can't go arresting every politician because it's going to come back on you one day. So that's just not what you do to each other. I don't know. I'm not inside of it, but I mean, we do know he uncovered just trillions of fucking dollars that were going to nonsense. And who was benefiting from it? I don't know. I don't know if it was the politician directly putting that shit in their pocket or not. But, you know, there was more to it than just trying to get good foundations started. You know, like you said, the condoms for Gaza shit. I mean, there's no way that's all that was about. All the money that was going towards that. And it was like, you know, dance classes for trans fucking, you know, goats or something in Kenya. It was just dumb shit. So did these things even exist is another question, you know?
Well,
and if not, then where was that money really going?
And that was kind of his theory, is that maybe we needed to get some sort of agency into Kenya without sparking any questions of why the fuck are we sending government officials to Kenya right now? Like, what is going on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's the problem is, you know, we'll never be able to just really get behind the curtain and see, because there's so many, like your friend's got a good theory on it. I mean, it could be that. It could also be that these politicians are tied to a lot of these foundations and organizations that this money was going to. Who knows? They're never going to tell us.
No.
I mean, I guess right now, just be happy they cut some of it off. But then you see Chuck Schumer on there saying that basically when this administration's gone, they're going to start a lot of that funding right back up. And so, I mean, it's enjoy it now, but it's not. It's going to be short-lived, because, you know, all that nonsense is going to start as soon as this administration's gone. They'll be back business as usual, you know, funneling and siphoning money and just, you know, naming these dumbass organizations overseas, which honestly, the majority of people didn't even know this shit was going on.
No.
Didn't even know. I mean, nobody knew. I mean, we didn't know what was going on in Gaza and Kenya and all that shit, where all these little fucking, you know, these little organizations or these schools or whatever they want to call them were popping up, that all this money was going to. We didn't know. Nobody even thought about it. They were doing that shit, right? Or just, you know, just while we're all just running around, working, paying our taxes, and they were getting away with this shit for decades. And I personally think it'll go right back to it when the next administration's in there, and we're just going to go on with our fucking lives. I mean, what are we going to do?
Nothing.
You know, we can't just stop paying taxes. Try that.
We can start a revolution.
Yeah, me and you.
So
that's the problem. You'll never get enough people on board to ever.
Well, I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day, about taxes and property taxes and whatnot. And it's like, it sounds great in theory of like, they can't arrest all of us, you know, fuck it. We're just not going to pay taxes, but we have no trust in each other in the country.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like, if I could trust, you know, Eric in the comments when he says, you know, I'm not paying taxes this year, you shouldn't either. And then somebody else could try. If we could get 3/4 of the country on board, then it's like fine. But then if we're all talking shit and 3 of us do it, we're going to fucking jail.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't get enough people. You get a lot of people that'll talk shit, but yeah, people that are actually going to do that, you'll never get enough people on board that the government just can't, you know, arrest or whatever. I mean, it's just never. You're never going to get that big of a fucking crowd. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's impossible. You know, I hear these people that, you know, we need a revolution, and it's like, who? You and 7 people that are dumb enough to try to go fight them? I mean, you're never going to get enough people on board for that shit, because for one, the majority of the country isn't suffering bad enough to revolt. You have to basically be willing to die for something if you're going to go up against the government. And there are countries where that's happened, but things were so bad that it's like, I'd rather be dead than live like this. Well, we're not there. As bad as people want to portray things are, we're not there, because even our poor eat in this country. You know what I mean? So they do that on purpose. They feed you. They don't want everybody in the country, fucking coming together and saying, look, we've had enough. So they're not that dumb. They know what they have to do.
They keep you just comfortable enough.
Just comfortable enough. Because like I said, even the poor people eat in this country. Well, in other places, they starve to death. Or you're out there stealing from your neighbors and shit, trying to feed your family. We don't have to do that here.
They're like, look, if we keep the electricity on, we make sure there's little Debbie's on the shelves, and we just have some basic cable floating around. I think they're good. I don't think
exactly. That's what I mean. We've got it great. If you live in quote unquote poverty, you've got it pretty good. Now, that's not counting people that are neglected, like children. Like if your child's starving, that's the parent's fault, because the government will feed you. There's welfare systems. So I'm not saying there's not people out there that aren't really suffering, but it's not a country where we just forget about our poor and don't even try to help. Don't even try. I mean, you see every Democrat city's got that's all the organizations are all about. Now, not all of them are doing what they're supposed to be doing, but it's all about fighting drug abuse and fighting homeless and feeding people. There's shelters, there's churches, you know what I mean? So we do have that going for us in this country. So for it to get that bad, where you get enough people to try to rise up, so to say, I just don't see that happening, at least in no time in the near future, because these politicians are not that fucking stupid. They'll steal from us all day long, but they're not going to sit there and let us all be in fucking bread lines to where we're, watching our children starve to death because we have no food. That's when you start causing fucking chaos, So.
Yep.
That's just my 2 cents. But what is that worth? Maybe a penny. And
on a good day.
But I hear a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people talk about it. Yeah, we just need to all get together. And it's like, you can't get fucking 4 people in a room to agree upon anything. So you think you're going to get millions? You know what I mean? We can't get people in our chats to agree with each other. I couldn't imagine trying to organize millions of people. It's a fallacy, man.
Absolutely not.
So, I don't know.
I don't know how people do it. Like, these fucking cult leaders, like, I don't get how they find so many like-minded people to just buy into their bullshit.
Right. No, I don't either, man. It's I don't know, man. I was looking into it. I don't know if you saw that comment about the Doge
costing more than what they saved.
Yeah, and I don't believe that. I mean, I'm not like I've got all that up in front of me, and I know that right this second, but I'm actually looking into it because somebody said prove me wrong, and so let me see. What was the claim on that comment?
Let's find out.
Y'all bear with us, y'all.
Doge cost $54 billion, only saved $2.5 billion. You just lost $50 billion. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, well, these people forget there are ways to research things nowadays. Let's see. And saved how much did they claim?
2.5 billion.
2.5. They've been like direct numbers, so that's exactly how I am researching it. They want to claim those numbers. We're going to see.
Is that your dog, Eric? It's pretty dog.
Eric?
Yeah. Pretty dog.
All right, let's see. Maybe we're wrong here. Let's see what this pulls up. Well, actually, I'm say I'm wrong. I never claimed anything. I don't believe it, but let's see. Let's see. It's pulling it together for me.
How much was Big Ball's salary?
Big Balls? I don't know, man. Big Balls got beat up, though, man. That was rough.
Yes, he did.
That was rough. Big Balls. You gotta love the fucking just this administration as a whole comes to that shit, because you're starting to see copycats now on the other side.
Yeah.
They all want to be abrasive and edgy now, and none of them everybody wanted to be proper in their suits, and they're like, oh fuck, wait a second. So everyday people, that they talk like Trump and all them talk like like they didn't even know that. They're living in their own fucking bubble. Okay. No, the Department of Government Efficiency did not cost $54 billion. The figure appears to stem from early claiming savings around 52 to 55 billion, which critics argue were very exaggerated, with actually verified savings closer to a couple billion. Oh, that is true, around 2 billion. DOGE itself was an unfunded advisory body without a direct budget of that scale. Any cost, quote, cost, refer to broader economic distributions, job losses, or lost revenue from its recommendations. Yeah, a lot of revenue was lost, but a lot of that fucking revenue was going places it didn't need to be going. You know, that's part of the problem. So I don't know. There's no definitive, proof to that claim that the person made in the chat. So either way, you
Eric
should
has
be
proof.
happy. Not, I guess happy is the wrong word, because I'm not happy that they found all of that, because they did nothing about it as far as holding anybody accountable. But at least it kind of pulled the wool back a little bit, where you can be like, oh fuck, man, they were doing that. That's kind of how I looked at it. Like, God damn, that much money was going to bullshit. And it just kind of opened your eyes a little bit. And I'm, excited for that. Now, when it came to nobody even named in any of that shit, it's like, what are we doing here, man? You know who was fucking sending a lot of that money. You know who was fucking orchestrating that shit. And I'm telling you, man, it's like they don't eat their own, man. It doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat, the politicians know what's off limits when it comes to holding, each other accountable. It's crazy.
Yeah, nobody ever does get held accountable. It just, kind of exactly what we were talking about earlier. Something pops up and then it just kind of gets buried by other news stories until we forget about it and it drifts away, and that's the end of it.
That's the end of it. Yep. Now, I did see news couldn't figure out why, the media, but they said murders plummeted by more than 20% from the year before. It's the lowest murder rate in the U.S. since 1900. And, of course, the Wall Street Journal is like, nobody knows why. It has nothing to do with this administration pushing law and order.
No.
I mean, I'm not going to say they everything's because of what Trump and them are doing, but apparently it's not hurting. I doubt people just started having morals now. It's like you always got so something changed it. But
Everybody's seen the light, dude.
The last thing they were going to do is say, well, let's dig into it and see if maybe stricter laws and people maybe fearing a little bit of repercussion might have contributed to this. It's all like, we don't know what happened. I don't know. People just stopped killing. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe it is.
and that was for 2025.
Murder plummets more than 20% from the year before, the single largest. And 2025's might be the lowest murder rate in the U.S. since 1900, they said. So we're making progress, right?
Hell yeah, man.
I
That's
like
what I'm
it.
talking about.
I like it, man. That's homicides down 24%, carjackings down 43%, overdoses down 20%, murders down 20%. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and the liberals don't know why. I don't know. Just coincidence. So,
I think it is,
yeah, we'll do that.
I'm trying to
We'll do
prove
that.
to the FBI that I'm a human.
Let's listen to let's pull up Big Mike Obama. Let's
Okay.
pull up, listen to what she had to say recently in a little interview.
It probably is really good. And
Yeah, let's check out Big Mike here. I'm about to put her on the screen. All right, let's see. Where's Big Mike? There she is.
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. Right. I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes. What does our closet look like and who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we supporting in it?
Right.
And I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, then you have the money to buy everybody.
Right. Nice.
And so let us be mindful, I think would be my advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what she's saying, ones who couldn't follow, was black women should be buying fashion from black businesses, basically,
Of
or
course.
black designers.
mm-hmm.
Of course, people on the right start losing their shit. Like, that's the worst thing anybody could ever say is, hey, man, look, I want to support my people. I mean, like I said, the knee-jerk reaction from the right is, oh my God, Michelle Obama's telling people, black people to only buy from black businesses. It's like, and I'm thinking, so what? Who gives a fuck? If that's what they want to shop, if I decide all I want to do is spend my money at white-owned businesses, why should I not have that right?
No, that's racist.
I'm not going to go firebomb a black-owned business, but if I choose not to shop there, that should be my choice.
No,
just like,
you can't do that.
Yeah, it's just odd to see people panic over everything, because I'm not an Obama fan by any means, but there are certain things that just sound dumb. And it's like, why do you care where anybody decides to spend their money? Because people really lost their shit over her implying that. She didn't want to just come out and say it. You can hear how she was kind of beating around. But she's like, if you got money to buy Chanel and you got money to go spend at black-owned places and take care of them, and I get it. I get it. And it's like, why can't, why is that a bad thing, I guess, no matter what race you are, to say, this is where I want to go spend my money? I don't know. It's odd. It's odd. It's. I guess people are always looking for something to overreact on.
Yeah, I figured like most people would probably be bitching about the fact that if you said it as, y'all need to go shop with white-owned businesses, it would be a problem.
Oh, it would.
It'd be a major fucking problem.
Right, and that was like, kind of how some of it was presented. That, now, can you imagine if this was said by a white person? And they're right, but that is my point. Like, why the outrage at all? I never understood that. Like, even to be, you may not like a certain race, so the fuck what? You're allowed to not like whoever you want. I don't think you should be out there acting on it and trying to hold down people based on race, and at least know how to act in public. But if you want to sit behind closed doors and just hate someone, who gives a fuck? Who cares? There's plenty of people that don't like white folks. Plenty.
Don't care.
I don't give a fuck. There's white women, liberal women, can't stand white fucking males. I don't care. I don't care. Don't like me. I don't know. It's just weird. Everybody freaks out over telling you who you need to like and dislike. And it's like, all it does, it just pushes people in the closet with it. You're not changing how they feel. So now people are just being fake, but you're never going to change what's inside somebody. So just whatever, man. They harp on it too much. And like I said, I'm not saying act out your hate. That's when it's wrong. I mean, you can dislike anybody, even if it's for stupid fucking reasons. That's your right. Now,
I think we have a retard in the chat. I think he thinks you was dissing on Michelle Obama.
Never. Why? What did he say?
75 times. Why are you white men so obsessed with black women?
Oh, well, I mean, look at her. I'm obsessed with her. I'm jealous.
Super jealous.
No, I wasn't. I know that's what people assume, and that was kind of how every other right-leaning person started coming at that video, like in a negative way. And it just made me think, who gives a fuck? I don't care. I mean, I don't blame them. Support your people. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
The way I see it. I mean, why wouldn't you? We can all do that. We can all get on that level. Just support people who look like you. I mean, if that's the message she wants to put out, well, fuck it. I mean, put that message out. She just didn't want to say it exactly like that, but that's what she meant. And it's like, okay, well,
absolutely.
Whatever.
But
I mean, I have no problem with that.
Support your cause, man. Support your cause.
So,
God damn it. I still see people bitching about them two dudes out in Minnesota with them AR-15s, man. Like, still, it's everywhere. People are bitching about them.
That they had them out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking criminals. We need to arrest them right now, They're fucking showing that we have a Second Amendment right in this country. Send them to jail.
Yeah. Well, I know, and it's that's another thing that turns into, black-white, I guess, kind of issue. Because like I said, the one I saw was a black kid. He looked like a younger person sitting on the back of a car holding an AR. And then a lot of people started freaking out about that on the right, and it's like,
I don't get it.
What's the problem? As long as he's legally out there with the firearm, I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
And I say a lot of people on the right, the people on the left were trying to trigger people on the right, saying, how do y'all feel about this now, conservatives, that it's a black person? And I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I just instantly saw so many posts from, and I mentioned it on Facebook to, I don't know, somebody I'm friends with on there that he's a liberal too, but he had posted it like, oh, suddenly, the right conservatives aren't pro 2A anymore. And I'm like, dude, I've been saying this shit since I saw the picture, and everybody on Twitter, all the right-wing people that's on Twitter bitching that these lawless thugs were out there with rifles fucking protesting ICE. And I'm like, I don't understand it. Like, everybody's, Second Amendment for the country, Second Amendment for the country. And as soon as there's a picture of somebody using that Second Amendment from the other side, it's Second Amendment for us, for us over here, not
for them.
Yeah, no. Y'all are way past, like no Second Amendment over there. And I'm like, so fucking dumb. You either support the Second Amendment for the American citizens or you don't. And that's it.
Right. That's it. That's it. But I think people get so caught up, though, and I think politics has a lot to do with it, that their brains are trained that way to just like, oh, wait a second, not their side. It's like you just assume that this black person holding an AR-15 is a Democrat. We don't know who this person was. And it doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican, but I'm saying that's where everybody's brain goes to. And then all of a sudden now it's a problem because you think there's a Democrat out there holding AR-15s. All of a sudden they're there to cause damage. But if it were somebody in a fucking, look like me out there holding one, they'd be like, oh, cool. Yeah, he's just out there fucking exercising his Second Amendment right. And
yeah.
So I'm with you. It's like, look, man, if you want it, then you're going to have to want it for everybody, and stop fucking with this fake outrage because somebody that you think don't need to be holding one is holding one. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah, and Eric says, no, if Trump said he was repealing 2A, you guys wouldn't say anything. And I have said multiple things when he banned and pushed to ban fucking bump stocks. I think that was absolute bullshit and completely against everything that the 2A community stands for. Now I cut him slack because he helped out with the NFA shit, so yeah, he came back a little bit, but I would never vote for Trump based off of his Second Amendment stance. And weren't many other options. So
I forgive, who was that, Eric in the chat you said?
Yep.
I forgive comments like that from people who've never seen us before, because the first thing they assume is that we're just hardcore MAGA. But if you've watched anything, it's not like that. We admit we voted for him, but that I'm not in a cult by any means. So I would happily tell Trump to his face to go fuck himself if he was trying to, do something to get rid of the Second Amendment or even try to infringe on it at all. I don't owe Trump a fucking thing. Fuck him when it comes to that. I think he was the better option between the people that were running, but by no means do I think Trump gives two fucks about me or anybody else out there to where I'm willing to fight for this man. And it's like, no, don't get that shit twisted if you're just tuning in. It ain't like that. I think he was the better option. Of course, I did not. Kamala Harris, and I'm like, come on, no, fuck no. And I think it's exciting just because of the shit show that it can be with the Trump administration in there. I think it's fun to sit back and watch. And that's kind of how you have to approach all that shit and not take it so serious. Sit back, watch the shit show, and just, oh my God, it can only last so long, right? He'll be out of there in a couple years if you hate the man, but
absolutely.
But anyway, as far as the whole, if Trump did this, it's like, no, it ain't like that on here. I promise you.
No, and kind of responding to Matt right after that last comment, he says it's not the amendment we worry, it's their mental state, but you can't just strip people of, their Second Amendment right and their guns over you think they may be nutty, like, I don't like what they're out there screaming. Huh? It is the red flag laws that are complete bullshit as well.
And that's what Dan Crenshaw was just talking about, who's supposed to be a Republican. Well, I believe he's a fucking rhino, but he was saying that at some instances the red flag laws make sense for certain situations. And it's like, no, you can't. You cannot convince me that there's any situation that it makes sense to have that as a blanket law across the country, because it will get abused. There's no question about it. It's not about whether or not, just like the whole detecting if someone's eyes are glossy from drinking when you get in your car, that will be abused. So you cannot give that type of that inch to the government, because it's not stopping there. They will abuse that. And just, if it ain't the government, that red flag laws, when somebody's pissed off at you, you think them phones ain't going to be blowing up? I heard him say he was going to take out people. You know, he was going to hurt himself, and he was going to go shoot up something. So all of a sudden, boom, they're coming. And now you have to prove that you are mentally able to have your firearms. You know, now the ball is in your court to prove that you should still be able to keep your guns. Fuck that, man.
That's
Fuck
crazy.
that, because that shit is going to do, it's a terrible idea. It's going to be abused, just like every other dumbass law they ever fucking present like that. And it's no, fuck that.
Yep. And Eric, my buddy for the night, cannabis users, mentally ill, restraining order, to have no 2A rights, and neither did black people till about 1970, but they do now. And you saw a picture of one expressing his Second Amendment rights. Cannabis users, I mean, it's classified federally right now as a drug. You know, you can't be an unlawful drug user and own a firearm legally. Like, that's
right. Yeah,
so
that's a whole. That's
we got to change the laws on the weed. I think weed should be legal federally.
Yep, get the cannabis laws changed.
Mentally ill, yeah. If you're found mentally ill by a doctor, for sure you shouldn't own a firearm. And restraining orders, domestic violence, felony or misdemeanor domestic violence, you're instantly disqualified. So there's rules that we have there to keep. Same thing as a 7-year-old is banned from using their Second Amendment, and just walking around with a holstered pistol through the streets. So,
not in this state, buddy. There ain't there's no age limit. If like a lot of it comes from the hunting rules, back down south, to where, you can actually be 10 years old in the woods with a firearm. You know what I mean? And I think it's fucking amazing. It's like, yeah, this, because
I think it is, because I thought there was maybe a case that popped up not too long ago around here, and it kind of got into that, how it's not illegal for somebody under 18. Like, you can't buy them until you're 18.
You can't buy them, but you can possess them.
But you can possess them around here.
Yes.
You can, because you can go hunting.
Well, right. And right. I was gonna say, if you dig into the law, that's basically what it was designed for, to not take away someone's right to hunt for food. It doesn't mean just because you're a child that you can't go out there and do that. Now, I don't know about walking down a public fucking street as a child, but I don't know how far the law stretches and what areas it stretches to. But from what I understand, you can be a minor in possession of a firearm in this state in certain instances. So I don't suggest to do it, unless you're accompanied by an adult. But I'm just saying that I think it is a lawful thing. I mean, if you're 16 and get pulled over and got a pistol in your car in this state, as long as it ain't stolen. Now, they may give you a bunch of shit, like, why do you have this? Whose is it? What are y'all doing with it? But I don't think they can legally do anything as long as it don't come up stolen.
Right.
As far as I know. I'm not a lawyer, but I do believe that, just from living here my whole fucking life, that is the case.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. I think it's written as, like, basically the gun has to go, if it's with somebody under the age of 18, it's got to go. They can be in possession of it alone while they're going to and from their hunting trip, and obviously during, but
yeah,
I don't know how you prove that they're not going to a hunting trip at the moment. But
have we reached our limit of saying the word gun before YouTube kicks the stream off?
I don't know. We can find out.
The only stream we ever had fucking canceled was fucking a firearm related shit. Now, granted, we had a video pulled up, but I'm like, damn, like, it's like, I didn't have the gun. They're like, oh, you can't have a gun on a live stream. I'm like, well, it wasn't me. It was a video.
It was a video.
That was on YouTube. I pulled up a video from YouTube, and then they took the fucking stream down. because
So
we
dumb.
violated the firearms thing, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! So I don't even know if you
Walking
can say
around here
gun
with
more than
guns.
maybe 20 times. I think we're at 18 right now, so we might want to shut up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, Eric says cannabis. It's millions of Americans currently committing a felony, 5 to 10 years in prison, and you are correct. And again, I don't agree with it, but federally it's illegal. I think it needs to change. I think it just needs to be legalized across the board and
it's
be
so
done.
Dumb. It's such a dumb fucking. Why have they not done that? It blows my mind. I mean, I don't know if it's the pharmaceuticals companies pushing back so much and this lobbying, because there's a lot of money with the pharmaceutical companies that are tied into these politicians and all, and just the way that these laws get passed. It's the only thing I can think. The only company I can see fighting that would maybe be alcohol and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to have something like marijuana classed any different than alcohol. None. And cigarettes. And you can walk in any convenience store and buy both of those. But they demonize this marijuana, and I just don't know who else will be behind that, because I start thinking, like, who wouldn't benefit from marijuana being readily available to citizens of the United States? Well, it's got to be other companies that sell mind-altering products. That's the only people I can see that would be against that. I mean, I don't believe it's these old-time politicians that just think drugs are bad. I don't believe that's what this is. I mean, it may have been back in the day. They looked at all drugs, because I grew up thinking pot was the devil. It's like if I, as a teenager, a young teenager, if I heard one of my friends' parents that, if I found out that they smoked weed, it was like, oh shit, your parents smoke weed? That's how we came up, because it was demonized so much.
Yep.
And then you become an adult and you're like, well, fuck, man, I'm drinking this shit, every fucking night, and they're bitching about people smoking some marijuana. I mean, it's just crazy. So, point being, I just can't see anybody else being behind that besides people that stand to lose something from it being totally legal and just, of course, with some, stipulations like no minors. Same thing they do with alcohol. That's it. Check a fucking ID. You should be able to walk into a gas station and buy a joint. I mean, I can go in there and get pissy drunk from a bottle of whiskey, but I can't buy a joint. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And I just don't see, I'm with you, because I don't see how a country that'll let a chief down some cigarettes will say weed's bad. No. And I think you're right as well, to chief down a cigarette and, blast your lungs out if you want to. That's on you. That's fine. As long as you're an adult. Do what you want.
Yeah, it's the government telling grown fucking people what to do. Grown adults, what you can and cannot put in your body. It's like, no. I mean, like I said, I know there's got to be regulations for children. I understand that. I mean, we try to protect the most vulnerable people in our society, and it's these children. They don't need to be walking into the store and just buying alcohol and cigarettes and shit. I get that. But when it comes to being a full-grown adult, who the fuck are you to tell me that I don't need to be doing that? Fuck off, man.
Exactly.
Especially when it comes to marijuana. Like, really? This is what we're worried about? Regulating marijuana. And then Trump's like, we're going to... What did Trump do? He downed the classification.
He downed it to Schedule 3.
Fuck off. Like, what did that do? I mean, come on.
Dumb. Like, just fucking get with the times, man. Legalize this shit and be done with it. Everybody will forget that it was illegal fucking 10 years from now, and it'll never be thought about again.
It'll never be talked about again.
Dave
at one point, alcohol was illegal. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's why we have income taxes. Bitches. Then the people driving intoxicated, Dave says. Well, they're actually about to fix that problem with the new cars.
Well,
so we won't have to worry about it anymore.
But why should that be any different than being able to drink and drive? You're not supposed to do that. It's against the law.
Maybe that's the plan, dude. Right? So they're gonna put out the self DUI driving cars, and then they're gonna legalize weed. Okay, and they're gonna be like, so when people ask that question,
but if they're self-driving, we should be able to get plastered in them.
Well, they're only self-driving if they're bringing you to the police station for DUI.
Oh,
they don't self-drive any other time. It's just when they're bringing you to the cops, right?
Yeah.
So then when people say, well, what about driving intoxicated? They're like, look, we fixed that 3 years ago. All right.
Yeah.
Get with the times.
I'm looking at the chat here. Brian says, I don't do marijuana. It's just funny how you phrase that. But I don't do marijuana, but it should have always been legal. But a person can kill themselves with alcohol and cigarettes. Doesn't make sense. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
I don't do the marijuana either. You know, I've tried it. I just not my thing. I don't like downers. I mean, as you can tell, I don't shut the fuck up. I don't. That's just not my thing. But that doesn't mean I should make that decision for other adults. You know, I mean, like, oh, because I don't like it, you don't need to be using it. Because I see people on X, you know, trying to compare the marijuana to alcohol and claiming marijuana's worse. And I'm like, where are you getting this from? Like, because you don't like it? Like that makes zero sense.
I feel like people that say that haven't tried it ever.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like people that want to make gun laws that have never shot a gun.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, you're right. People that want to sit there and demonize certain drugs that have never, ever even attempted to try them, but yet they want to make laws stopping you from doing it. And that's exactly what's going on in the most part. I mean, which I don't know. They may all be closeted smokers up there in Congress. They all fucking behind closed doors. They over there getting just token, man. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, that I thought it was bullshit that Trump didn't just go ahead and just declassify it as a fucking, you know, it's like, look, we're going to start regulating it like we do alcohol, not this schedule this. I don't give a fuck what schedule he puts on it. That's not enough, you know. It's not enough. So what did it do, though, as far as the law goes? What is Schedule 3? What is
it? The schedules are basically ranked by how much medical use it has, how much potential medical use it has.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what I mean. Is that what 3 is considered?
Yeah. So it's got more of a potential for medical use. So I believe it gave the ability for more places to start studying it medically.
And they need to do that. And with the mushrooms too, man, honestly, you know, because there's other countries you can go to where they use that type of stuff and it helps people, man. A lot of these guys with this PTSD, you know, are soldiers and shit, man. It says it works wonders with shit like that. And we're in a fucking country that's so heavily regulated for shit like that. And I really believe these pharmaceutical companies are behind it. They would rather just keep you fucked up on their medicine instead of letting you try some kind of natural shit. The last thing they need is word getting out that natural fucking, you know, there's natural medication out there. That's the last thing they want. But I know you've mentioned before in the past, well, why not just get in on it?
That's what I say.
So that is a big question. That's why, like, maybe it is too much of a conspiracy when I say that the pharmaceutical companies are behind it, because if anybody has money to invest in marijuana or whatever, it would be them. So why not get on board instead of trying to fight it? So I don't know. I mean, it's a good question, but I still find it hard to believe that it's not big pharma behind this shit, man, when they just demonize these natural cures, you know. I just can't see anybody else behind that.
Yeah, it's hard to see anybody else behind it, but that is my only kind of makes me question is like,
why not profit off of it, right?
Anybody could buy fucking, 500 acres and make a farm or, open stores nationwide, state to state. It would be a fucking pharmacy company. They've got the money to do what they want when they want. And they've got the power in the government to do it, So there's no like, we don't want them here. That's going to stop it. Like they've got as much power as you could want. So,
well, real quick, without being one of those fucking Mr. Beast content creators, y'all hit that subscribe button for us if you can. If you're watching this, we appreciate it. But anyway, I seen somebody in the chat, was talking about how, where'd it go? I don't want to misquote it. Let me see if I can find it. How weed has changed, like the potency. Today, that shit, dude, I know, because it's every now and then I'll get a wild hair up my ass and I'm like, I'm gonna try some. Somebody's got some, and dude, I'm like, why the fuck did I do this? Like, 2 minutes into it, I'm like, the fuck did I do? And I'm one of those people that, please make it stop. I don't like this. And I remember when I was younger, it wasn't that bad. It was just, I guess it was just regular old shit. Now, my God, dude, there's like this strand, that strand, you mix this with that. And I'm like, y'all ain't just happy with being high. Like, you got to get obliterated, like if I can feel my face, this shit ain't good, is how they look at it nowadays.
Yeah, dude.
And that ain't fun to me.
I can't do it. I cannot do it. I'm with you. Like every once in a while, it's like, but it's been a while because I'm like, nope, tried it enough. Don't like it. I'm
Done.
good.
Yep. I'm like, make it stop. Make it stop. I'll never do it again. Make it stop.
Yep.
Fucking
The
hate it.
whole time. It's terrible.
Anyway.
Harley says, "Control our cars?" Question mark. Would you care to explain? Would
Control what?
control our cars?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, if anybody that was, following us from the beginning, listening to this, we apologize, but we'll go over it again real quick just for Harley. The government is basically on the verge of passing, I don't know what they call it, like a kill switch on new cars that get manufactured, where it can detect. So if you're impaired, basically, and by having scanners that look at your eyes to see if they're, I guess, bloodshot or pupils dilated, and on the steering wheel, they would be able to, I guess, from your sweat, if you've got alcohol in your bloodstream.
Right.
So that's kind of what we were talking about, and how it, on the surface, like a lot of these laws, it sounds great because it's all meant to, quote unquote, protect the public from, with this one, from drunk drivers, which sounds great. Who's against that? You know what I mean? So that's how they do that, because now you sound like a total prick if you're like, well, fuck that. I don't want to protect people from drunk drivers, but that's not, where we go with this. It's more of, do you want to lose, little freedoms, or give the government that kind of control? Now, of course, they
lose
say,
that much privacy.
Right, the privacy thing, and they say, well, it won't be that. We're not going to be able to control it. Like, bullshit. Somebody is. Somebody's controlling this shit. So that's basically where that came from, because that is something that's out there right now that they're trying to get passed, and it was voted on by multiple Republicans, pretty much all the fucking Democrats. So it's actually making some headway. We'll see. I mean, you can avoid it by just not buying a car, after they start making them. But
well,
and I don't know, maybe there'll be ways around. There's certain ways around all that technology. But it just sounds like, what, I don't know,
government overreach.
Yeah, just one step closer to, them just controlling every fucking thing you do. And it seems like that's their goal, and it's always hidden behind safety.
Well, and we've got a couple comments coming back too. So Eric says Toyota has a monitoring system in fighter jets preventing collision. They're putting that on cars basically to monitor each other. And I think collision avoidance systems on cars are great. My wife's Nissan has a collision
I've had them scare the shit out of me.
where you coming up on somebody and the car doesn't think you're going to stop. It will stop for you. I think that's great, but it's on the exterior of the car and it's monitoring surroundings. It's not a camera and sensors on you, you know?
Yeah, nobody's watching you, so to say. And of course, the government's saying there's not going to be anybody watching you. It's going to be a sensor.
There never is.
But I'm like, I don't care. I don't trust them enough. That's the problem.
And after 9/11, they said, we're only going to, monitor the phone calls and the emails of people that we suspect of doing bad. Not all Americans, just everybody.
That's exactly.
At our
so
will.
What did they hide behind with that? Safety. We're looking out for terrorists. So therefore, we're going to have, where we can basically monitor anybody's phone anytime we want without warrants. And that was little freedoms that a lot of people are willing to give up out of fear. So that's what they're doing with this. There's so many people killed a year from drunk driving. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I don't think the answer is to just start, invading people's fucking privacy and having that much control over people's cars. Because like we mentioned, what happens when this sensor is wrong and it shuts your shit off and you got somewhere to go? That's important. There's glitches in every system.
Yeah, and then
it's telling you you're drunk, and you're like, I've never drank a drop of alcohol in my life. I'm just tired, but I got to get to fucking work.
Exactly, and kind of since we're going back over it, kind of my points from earlier were if you've got so we're in Louisiana, we don't have many emission standards or I mean you could have like 3 tires on your car, one of them's laying in your driveway, they'll let you drive that motherfucker to work, right? But so like my car, I got headers and whatnot, it's not going to pass emission standards. So if I was in a place like California where they absolutely do not allow that shit, they could just shut your car off. I think it's nuts that they're trying that it even got voted to stay in the bill is crazy, but
Well,
whatever.
yeah, I mean, like I said, they're hiding it. And some of them may have good intentions. There may be some politicians that
They
say,
don't.
look, I'm just trying to, give them some of them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they do think, hey, look, if it can save some lives, I'm sorry, but I'm all for it. But I don't know. I mean, I know I'm probably giving them a lot of credit. I'm sure there's something in this bill also that they want passed. There's no telling, but I don't know. It's I just don't trust them, and they've done that to themselves, where they're just not trustworthy at all, any of them. So anytime you see anything like this going on, all you can do is think the worst, because we may be making more out of it than it needs to be, but I just don't. I don't like where it's going. It's
Nope.
just, they keep chipping away, and then, like you said, eventually it's like, well, your car doesn't pass the smog fucking test or whatever, so we're shutting this bitch off.
Yep. Sorry
It's
about
like,
your
but I
bad
got places to
luck.
go. Yeah, and because like you said, down here it's pretty fucking lenient, man. I don't check for nothing.
Nothing.
They make sure they're like, all right, blow the horn, turn your headlights on, put it in reverse. Okay, here's your inspection sticker. I mean, it just fumes fucking shooting out from under your car, and I love it. And I think that's bullshit too. Like, fuck you. I ain't fucking check.
Yeah, that's what I say. I haven't had an inspection sticker since
Yeah,
I bought
fuck
my
'em.
car 7 years ago because
That's
fuck
why.
them. You already got to pay fucking, it's like you got to pay for the car and then you got to pay the state for your privilege to drive on the roads, period. And then you got to pay taxes for the privilege to have fucking roads, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to pay a registration on a car to have the privilege to drive that specific car on the roads. And then they want you to pay them for an inspection sticker on top. Fuck y'all, man.
Yeah, fuck them. I don't have one either on purpose. It's only $20, but I don't give a fuck. Fuck off.
I don't care. Fuck 'em.
know. Yeah. Pull me over. Hopefully I'm in a bad mood. Tell the cop, write your fucking ticket and get out my face over a goddamn inspection sticker.
So Eric says, if you take your hands from the steering wheel of a Tesla for 45-second periods, the car will shut down and pull over to the side of the road, right?
Okay.
And that makes me think of a post I saw by Elon today that somebody was bitching about the autopilot prices going up to $99 a month,
Right.
and whatever it was, $4,500 if you wanted it for lifetime.
Yeah,
well,
I
it's
think I
going to
know
go
where
up
you're going with
again
this.
because he's talking about, in the near future, they'll be releasing the fully autonomous driving with no supervision required, which is basically the autonomous driving that you can be passed out in the seat and, playing fucking mahjong in the fucking, in the app store. And
Right.
you think that's coming? Would you drive it? Would you trust it?
No.
Come on. Get with the
No.
times, man.
No, I don't trust it. But I do. I know what reminded me of when you were talking about the prices going up. He was saying that your insurance will be drastically lower once the car's driving itself. So basically, it's going to take up for whatever you're spending extra to get that. I don't know how true that is. I mean, but I did see him talk about that. But so I don't know. I have no
I
desire.
don't know how
to
I'd feel as an
fucking-
insurance company.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Try
it
to get in the
depends.
mind of a scammer. It's hard to do.
Yeah. Well, speaking of scammers,
Bitches.
that's a good segue. I don't know if you heard this case before. It was new to me. It's kind of an older one, but it's still going on, the actual case itself. But there was a guy named Michael Smith, and what he did was created AI music, streaming fraud, basically. So, 52-year-old guy, he was an aspiring artist, whatever. He had some of his own music released, but it didn't really do much. So what he did was he either created or purchased hundreds of thousands of AI-generated songs, right?
Mhm.
So he basically put these songs out on different streaming platforms under different, fake band names. Just made up names, said, hey, this is who created this song. Boom. He uploaded them to all the major platforms, Spotify, Apple, this, that, and other. Well, he used automated bots to artificially stream those songs billions of times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what that, of course, equated to was $10 million he made doing this. And I'm like, that's pretty fucking genius.
That's pretty good.
Good. Now, The problem where is the royalties came from the platform's payout pools, which are divided among, legitimate streams. So it's basically like you were stealing from those people is why I guess it became a crime.
But Kendrick Lamar can do it?
I'm
the
like,
fuck out of
dude.
here.
One report notes Spotify detected and limited his earnings there to only $60,000 once they caught on. But the dude made $10 million fucking dollars. Now, 7 years he had this going on.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, $10 million over 7 years. But he was charged with wire fraud conspiracy, money laundering conspiracy, and he's indicted in New York, which each one of those charges carry up to 20 fucking years.
Dang.
Now he's pleading not guilty. I don't know how if they caught you doing it, but yeah, I was like, dude, that's a fucking hustle, man.
See, he should have stopped at 6 million.
They'd have never got him. Huh?
God damn it, man.
Yeah, I'm like, go ahead, boy, and then at first I'm thinking, oh fuck, man, he didn't hurt nobody, but then they start, like I said, according to how Spotify and all them say, he was stealing from other artists that should have been earning that.
They do it too.
Exactly.
Is this not like a known common thing in the music industry? These artists paying for streams so they can be number one and get on the news and, like.
And look.
Come on, man.
And look,
when you're the small guy, you get fucked.
And this wasn't easy, dude. He controlled at one time up to 10,000 active bot accounts, dude. That he had to create thousands of fake accounts using bulk purchase fake email addresses and shit. So it wasn't like it was just like, let me sit down and click a couple buttons. The dude was committed now.
Well, can you explain to me exactly? Like step by step, like exactly how he did it for research.
Look, I'm doing a book report. I need to know exactly how to do this, and throw in how not to get caught. That's what I want to know. But no, his strategy to avoid detection, he would basically spread these streams thinly across many tracks. Where a few thousand plays per song, so it didn't look funny. 5,000 plays on this one, 10 on this one, 20 on this one. To where he racked up just tens of thousands of fucking just hours or whatever. And $10 million later, I hope he enjoyed some of the money at least. His ass is looking at some time now.
It's kind of what I do. Like Eric in the comments, that's one of my bots that I set up. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that actually reminded me of a video that I had bookmarked, dude. It's along those same lines, but instead of music streaming. So, online gambling, right? Online poker and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Why, you pulling something up?
Yep. Working on it.
All right, well,
pull
it up.
I lost it for a second. All right. Boom and boom. So, online poker. So this dude has bots on bots set up. And they basically, 5 to 9 people can sit at a table. So the bots will take up 4 to 8 of those seats. And they all know what each other has. So they'll basically all just fold until one of the bots has a hand that statistically is going to win based off the other cards that the other bots have. And then they'll play against that one human player and beat them.
Okay. So somebody's has it set up there apparently now.
Yeah. Each one of the screens has at least one bot on it.
Yeah. Bro, that's what they talk about with just the AI in general. How the scams that's going to be run. It's just never ending now. There's going to be so many ways to make money legally and of course illegally. It's crazy. It's going to be nuts. Even before it all kicked off, like the guy who was streaming the music. That wasn't really AI. It was just making a shit ton of these. But I guess it's a form of AI, but not like we now know it as today, where AI is just fucking, this all knowing fucking being, But it's just crazy. It's just a sign of things that are to come with all of this, man. The more technology gets, it can be great, but just like anything, it can be used and abused,
Absolutely.
What are you talking about? Any good stock picks?
Any good stock picks? What you think?
Yeah, should have picked
NASCAR?
Apple years ago.
No,
Give you all
I
the
think
hindsights. You should have picked Microsoft.
if you were trying to put money into something, I wouldn't go, all in because that's always stupid on stocks. But I think buy AMD because I think NVIDIA is focused a lot into the AI sector right now. And AMD is kind of has been for a few years taking over the gaming computer space. And I think they're
Right.
going to continue to do that while everybody else kind of focuses in other directions. NVIDIA, like I said, they were jumping way up, getting into the
So-
AI, and they've kind of plateaued out as AI gets a little fishy here and there. And they've kind of stuck with those guns on the AI side and developing AI chips and shit like that, whereas AMD is still on the computer stuff.
Right. Now, I will say, anybody who takes stock advice from any one of us, if you lose your money, don't come back on here bitching
Well,
and complaining. Because
That's where my money is. I've got, money in AMD. So I wouldn't tell you to buy it if I didn't. Again, this is, I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch of the words, right? So
I say spend it all. Fuck the stocks. Just blow your money on fun shit. That's my advice. See how that works out. What's going on with
bite on label? What's that mean?
Didn't you show me a video last week where they were sitting down in Target protesting?
Yes, I did.
Oh, did you see the one with the lady? They were filling up buggies and then like just leaving them there in protest of Donald Trump.
Yes.
The weirdest shit. Another white liberal woman fills up 3 carts full of items, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm not buying any of this." Instead, demand everyone to drop everything and walk out and protest Trump is what she was doing in the middle of a fucking Target. And I'm like, what do these weirdos have against Target all of a sudden?
I don't get the Target thing, but I heard their initial plan or goal was to buy a bunch of salt and then all go and mass return it,
Buy a bunch of what?
like
I didn't hear you. I had
salt,
my ear thing out. Oh, salt.
because salt melts ice,
Oh, Jesus
Witty.
Christ.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Here's what I see the problem with Target. Target caters to these fucking weirdos. You remember the shit they got into with the whole pride shit for children and all that nonsense. They feel comfortable in places like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then now they're in here like just acting like an ass, and Target don't tell them anything.
No.
It's like you got to run these fucking lunatics off, man. It's okay every now and then as a business to refuse service to someone. It's fine. You have a right to do that, because I guarantee you the amount of people that you piss off by running these clowns off is nowhere near the amount of people you're going to make happy and say, you know what? I'm gonna go back to Target now. I'm gonna go shop at Target. I like that they're kind of taking a stand, because I don't walk into the fucking place no more around here after I went in and there was a fucking dude in a dress stocking the fucking shelves. I'm like, I don't know, because I don't want my fucking kid being, why does that lady have a beard? So I refuse to go in there. But to me, stop pandering to that bullshit and letting these idiots in your fucking store just causing ruckus because they don't like Donald Trump. Run them the fuck off, run them off. I promise you get millions of praise, from people if you would do that. But for some reason, Target has been the place where they feel comfortable at. Because I'm thinking, what is Target? Well, the last 2 videos I've seen of these idiots were inside of a Target. Like, what?
Yeah.
What,
And
do
like
they
I
do they
said,
have a
like,
fucking a memo they send out,
yeah, it's just odd to me that they're protesting in the place that is welcoming to them, It's
Welcoming.
like you
That's my
would think
point.
that would be the place. It's like, all right, well, let's not cause chaos in here,
Yeah, it almost is like it backfires letting these idiots feel comfortable somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just odd. Like I said, it's probably not that big of a deal, but it just caught my eye. I'm like, another Target. Like, what are these weirdos doing?
Yeah, like
And
you
then I
gotta
remember,
protest
like,
ice
when
at
I-
like a tire shop,
Something, yeah. Something that's a little, that you feel is a little more, Trump supporting than Target. I mean, it's goofy, but anyway. Anywho, anything else that crazy that needs to be discussed? Probably
Olivia
not.
says, why are men wearing dresses bad.
Well,
And
because it's not, I mean, I don't care what you say. It's just not the norm. I mean, I don't want my, it's, you could call it what you want. I know we're not going to get into this discussion, but
we are.
no, no, we're not. But there's plenty of reasons why grown men don't need to be running around in fucking dresses. So that's just my belief. I mean, we'll stick with that.
The reason that stuck out to me is because Bad Bunny has said that he's going to wear a dress for the Super Bowl.
And good for him. And good for him. And if that's, what y'all think of as manhood needs to be following as far as teaching these boys how to grow up and be men and be strong, men that are the country's relying on for whatever, if that's what you believe, then go for it. I just think this pussification of this country, it's gets you nowhere good. I mean, a lot of, it turns you weak. You start all that bullshit where it's in the military. Now you're a fucking joke. So, like I said, that's a whole nother fucking 2-hour long conversation, and that nobody's going to agree on. But I mean, if you're calling that shit normal, then whatever, so be it. But
all I'm
at
saying
least shave is all I'm
sometimes-
saying. Why are you going to have a full beard, makeup, and a dress? Pick one is all I'm saying.
Sometimes you just got to let your nuts swing, dude. All right?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here and hate on trans, but when you ask me my personal opinion, that's just how I feel. I mean, I just don't think little boys need to be looking up to that, or even, it's just, no, stop it. It's enough of that.
Hey,
quit.
But you know what would have been funny? If you remember that video a while back, I believe it was in the back of a Target, and that dude got caught by them two women taking a picture up that chick's skirt.
Yes.
That'd have been awesome if
that.
it was a dude.
Taking a picture and
in
it's
a
just
skirt.
a big cock and balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have.
Oh, that'd have been perfect.
You're damn right. What else did I want? I seen something that caught my mind. Did you see that? You probably saw it as much as you are on them weapons. That fucking little, I guess it shoots out like heat or something. It's an invisible weapon that it basically, like, it feels like it's cooking you.
Is that the shit that they were talking about they were using in Venezuela?
Yeah, and they were demonstrating it on one of the Fox reporters, and it's like, I was like, okay, thinking it's a way to disperse a crowd, I guess, without, hurting anybody, so to say.
They said it doesn't leave any long-term effects. Now, I don't know how long
so
they
they
tested
say.
it for, but yeah, so
what they say.
I don't want it used on me, so I'm going to stay at the house and just do my good working deeds. But I did see that. I sent you that that post where the alleged, guard of Maduro was talking about the weapons that they used, and that microwave ray gun or whatever the fuck was one of them.
Yeah. They started with the nosebleeds and the vomiting and is what they were claiming happened now. I mean, I was watching, I think Peter Ducey from Fox was, had it done to him, and he said it just felt like just intense heat hit you, but he was fine. I mean, he didn't, no nosebleeds or nothing, but they're calling it non-lethal, of course, just heat and no lasting effects. It is the government, so it's probably radiation, There's no telling, but
it probably is.
I
don't know how else you would do it. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to get hit with it.
I'm not a scientist, but
no. But either way, I guess it's to me, it's just when you see stuff like that, I start wondering, like, what do they have that you don't know about? It just and it's intriguing, not even like from a scary standpoint, but just like the technology that they possess that us as average citizens will never know. It's just got to be amazing, man. When they let stuff like this out, this is just to appease you for a minute. That this isn't nowhere
they don't
near
tell
the
you
type
about?
of
Oh
shit they're working with. Yeah, I mean, it.
I'm telling you. And it's funny that you say that, because I'm actually going to bring it kind of full circle to where we were earlier. But I thought the same exact thing about like the COVID shit, right? Like, imagine what the fuck they do have in these labs that you don't know about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because we only know about this because it fucking got out. I mean, so, but you could see that gain of function shit was going on for a while, and they disguise it behind, needing to basically keep up with the bioterrorism and just trying to find, I guess, another weapon, so to say, if needed.
Yeah.
He's like, well, we might need this. And it's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess if other countries are doing it, we need to kind of keep up with the Joneses, so to say. But when you've got, idiots like Fauci behind it that are doing it for all the wrong fucking reasons and don't care about the repercussions of playing mad scientist is the problem. And without getting too much into that, because like you said, I'm gonna finish that documentary about Fauci, and I want to have a stream dedicated to that here in the next few days.
Absolutely. It was just
Because
funny
that
you
is
said that.
so far I'm halfway through it. It's an amazing documentary that's really like lets you know what this man is all about and what was really going on for decades now with Fauci. And then you start getting into what we all just lived through, which is the COVID stuff, and it's like, wow, like damn. And to me, just a short summary of it, he reminds me of a mad scientist that just he loves fucking with shit basically, and gene altering and whatever he's doing in there, and he doesn't care about the repercussions. I believe he is so intrigued with this stuff that he looks at it like it's justified. We have to do this. We need to do it. So therefore, if it hurts a few people or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because this is what we need to be doing. Science. And it's like, well, it does matter when the shit gets out and the next thing you know, the whole world shut down and people are losing their lives and their livelihoods. And then you're up there like, well, I don't know, and lying about it the whole fucking time. But like I said, I don't want to get into it too much right now. That's a whole different stream.
No, it was just funny you said that because that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, God, imagine what the fuck they got hidden in there. But let's see. Johnny says, what happened to Peter Duce on Fox isn't the same weapon they used on Venezuela. The thing they used on Peter is a crowd dispersal heat ray. What they used on Venezuela was way more intense. Like from what I heard, it did make them cough and puke up blood and bleed and couldn't stand up, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So,
and it may not have been that. That's what people were maybe assuming because the guards over there tied to, the Maduro operation, they described it as a sudden invisible force, crushing pressure in the skull, nosebleed. So, yeah, it may have been something totally different. They were just, kind of trying to tie this in and say, I wonder if this is what they were doing, maybe just ramped up by fucking 100, I don't know. But that was kind of my point, that if they're showing you that with just this harmless heat, you can imagine what they really have. And so that may be true what these guards were saying over there from Venezuela, that ain't what they used on us. But that's not what the United States government is admitting to. They're showing you just heat shit and just trying to get you to blow it off as, oh, that's what they were using. Because why would they tell you or, risk other adversaries knowing what you have going? I totally get why there is some secrecy that is needed when it comes to stuff like that. And that's why I said it's more of an intriguing thought than the fucking government is lying to us.
Right.
I understand why they're lying about this. It's just like, it just makes me wonder, like, what do they have? And it would be so fucking awesome to get a peek behind that closed door and really see, like, God damn, I bet it would blow your fucking mind. Shit you can't even think of. You can't even fathom that there's just no fucking telling, man. There's really no fucking telling. Especially when you start getting into the back engineering of down fucking UFO crafts, if you start going down that. And that's if you believe that they've retrieved any of those or they have their hands on these UFOs over the years, and they start back engineering the technology that it takes for these things to move. And I mean, there ain't no you could go way down that fucking rabbit hole, and it gets interesting if you're into science and all that shit,
For sure.
So I'm big on the technology shit, so it's like anytime I start hearing stuff like that, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, But anywho,
Jacoby says, can we talk about 2A? Because apparently some of these idiots still think it's about hunting. No, we need to be able to protect ourselves. And
nobody needs to hunt with an AR. That's what the liberals holler.
Yep. And I think, honestly, the picture of them two guys in Minnesota, it fairly sums up what 2A was originally meant for. Now, they weren't using it in, our beliefs obviously differ, right? Like, we think ICE is there doing what ICE needs to do in their job. But, I mean, I assume anytime anybody stands up to the government and it goes that far, the government's probably acting within their own legal rights to do what they're doing, right?
Right.
So but in their eyes, they're standing up to a tyrannical government, which is exactly what we've been screaming that we need the damn things for the whole time. And they're telling us that we're fucking idiots and you're not going to fight the government, which there's not enough of them out there to do anything about ICE right now with guns. There's 2, but as far as the image of it, like, that's what it is.
Well, that's a good point you made, that from their standpoint, you're right. They're standing up against the government, a tyrannical government, which is what they think. Now, not everybody agrees that that's what's going on with the government,
Right.
but if you really believe that, then yeah, that's what your Second Amendment right was about. So
Absolutely.
in their mind, hey, I mean, I'm exercising my Second Amendment right. I believe the government's out here doing some bullshit they don't need to be doing, as far as illegal shit and harming citizens or whatever, So yeah, I guess it's got to go both ways, like we said, man. You can't just pick and choose what side gets it. I mean, if we start believing the government's doing something tyrannical, then we're going to want to exercise our Second Amendment rights, So,
Exactly.
yeah, I believe
and that's what we
everybody should
keep
have
them
it
for,
sure.
and that's honestly, that's what I think it is. And that's why we keep them. That's what we've been preaching as far as people in the 2A community is like, you need it to protect, for one, yourself, your house. Hopefully nothing ever happens. But if it does, I don't want to be caught with a butter knife,
Yeah.
And then if the government ever does some tyrannical shit, then you have something, I mean, imagine if UK trying to stand up right now to their government. They have nothing.
Sure. Yeah. And well, that's the first thing every government that's trying to be, oppressive, basically, is the first thing they want to do is get the guns from you, because they know, well, now you have nothing. Not that it's an easy fight with guns for the citizens, but you have a fighting chance, at least. You know what I mean? You're going to make it a little harder, because not everybody in law enforcement, not everybody in the military is going to go against the citizens. That's their family. That's their friends. You know what I mean? Just because a government says, go do it, that don't mean they're all going to go for it. So you're going to have a portion of the government that you would be battling this shit out. And if all the citizens have a way to protect themselves, it makes it a little harder, right?
Exactly.
So, you're right. So at least you give yourself a fighting chance. But when you go to places, I mean, even Australia, I mean, they were strict enough, and now they're trying to crack down even more because of what happened over there. But that's always their, them liberal places, that's their knee-jerk reaction to any type of shooting. Because they start, well, the Second Amendment wasn't written about AR-15s. It's like, yeah, because they didn't fucking exist back then. They didn't know what.
But they had the same guns the government did.
Right, exactly. That's all it was about. I mean, that's all it was about. It of course, they didn't name the AR-15. I mean, there was no such thing. So that's a stupid argument that I hear some of them make. Like we should all just have muskets because that's what they were talking about. And it's like, yeah, well, that's what they had. You dumb fuck.
Yep.
So, but anyway, so that's
and
I don't mean the name calling.
No, but
calling people
to respond to
fucks.
Graham while we're on it, it says, yes, you have something, but at the end of the day, the government will smoke anybody that gets in their way. If they want to do something, they have the numbers all day long.
Where's it at? Pull it up. I don't see it. Put it on the screen. All right.
But the answer to that is to not disarm yourself and let the government do it for you, for one,
and that's
so
what I was just, when I went on my rant just now.
Right.
At least you're giving yourself a fighting chance.
Giving
you
yourself
may not
something.
win, but it's something, and it makes the government less inclined to try that shit. It makes it way easy when they know nobody's going to fight back.
Exactly.
I mean, it is far-fetched to think that you're going to outgun the government. That's not the point. And I don't want it to ever come to that where you have to try.
And then if you're at the point with the government where you're pulling out guns to go fight the government, right? They're probably doing something that you're like, I don't want to live in the world that happens after
like
this, right?
Sure.
So if I die fighting them, I die fighting them, right? But it's kind of stupid to die fighting them if all you can do is go over there and throw pebbles at the White House.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So give yourself
like
a
I said,
chance. Keep your guns.
I hope we I hope we never even have to be concerned with that. But in the event you ever did, it'd be nice to, give yourself a little bit of a shot. But, so I'm with you. I mean, the government's got, all they got to do is shoot them fucking heat ray things at you. You're running away, So they've definitely got the upper hand. So it's not about, like the possibility of taking out the government, but I don't know. At least you'll feel a little bit better while you're going down.
Yep.
I tried my hardest.
I did what I could.
Yeah, did what I could. And honestly, I probably own more guns than I need to just because it pisses off the left. It's like they don't need ARs. I'm like, I think I'm gonna go buy me another AR. And so yeah, I've got shit I've never even pulled the trigger on, but I don't give a fuck.
Fuck it.
Stay mad. Stay mad. If y'all need to borrow anything, I got you covered. So
I just buy shit because the government makes it known that they don't want you to have it.
That's my point. Between the government and the liberals just going nuts, it's like, well, all you do is ramp up gun sales when y'all act like that.
That's it.
I'm like, fuck, I guess I'll go buy another gun. I'll never shoot it, but at least I have it.
I mean, like the price of ARs when Obama was talking about bringing back the assault weapons ban, shot up.
Yeah. I know. I told you that time that I had an AR. I think I paid about $600 for it, and there was a school shooting. Not that I was good at all. I mean, that's not, to capitalize on that, but the guns shot up so much because, of course, Obama was going to ban them and this, that, and other. I wound up selling that thing for $2,500. I mean, $600 gun. And then I went and bought me another one about a year later for $600 because I knew the craze was going to just die down. It's not that easy. They're not just coming and rounding up the ARs and shit. So I was like, I'm going to take this chance. I'll take that $2,500. Rode it out for a little while, walked into Academy, $600, got me another AR. So that's what I mean though, but they do nothing but ramp up the sales when they start acting like that. Never hear the conservatives talking about
Baked Bizquick says, I never hear the conservatives talking about taking away our gun rights, but they sure as fuck aren't out there handing them all back. So, and when the Las Vegas shooting went down, they ganked fucking bump stocks with a quickness.
Yeah, and then you bring that up. We still don't know much about that Las Vegas shit. That was some of the craziest shit, dude. That was still odd to this day. That's one of those things that, we spoke about earlier, how people just move on eventually. There was something to that shit in Las Vegas, man. That was odd. The whole thing was odd.
Random high roller that, for no reason just decided to shoot up
and
a
bring
concert
a arsenal,
brought an arsenal with him.
Yeah, that's still odd. And like I said, that's one of those things that people have kind of just moved on from, but I think there was way more to that than what they said. Just some lone guy that just, like you said, decided to go hurt people at a country concert, and meanwhile had a room full of ammunition and firearms. Like, for what? Like, what were you going to do with all that?
Right.
I don't know. It's weird.
And then it wasn't even like he used it until he couldn't. Yeah. He allegedly, according to the government file, shot himself before the police entered the room. But so it wasn't even like he was still just dumping rounds out the window and the police bust in the room and shot him and it was done with. So
I take Bruce's. That's kind of a compliment. I mean, we're wordsmiths. I'll take that.
We grew up in the Louisiana public school system, so
wordsmiths. I'll take it, dude. I'll take it. Fuck it. What else we got? Getting them chats. He wanted to prove some point for sure. Yes, he did. Clearly, he was a leftist nut job. I'll give you that. And look at who he targeted. Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that. It's just hard to believe that, that he was the only one involved in that shit, because just the way that it was handled by the law enforcement and the government, it was just weird. I don't know. I'd have to pull it all back up to really remember every single detail about it, but I remember it just didn't sit right, and then they just kind of moved on. Just get on. So
the internet's a great place, dude.
I know you were. I was just, my God.
I love it here.
I know it was not meant to be a compliment. Believe me. We're not that dumb over here in Louisiana. But see, I guess because it didn't bother us that he didn't know how to, like, dude, from day one when we started this shit, the name calling just never stops. I mean, eventually it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care. As long as you're on there conversating with us, I'm having a good time. Fuck it. That's why we do this anyway, to entertain ourselves. So doesn't matter.
It is. Any takes on Uvalde? I think the cops were pussies, is my take on it.
Yeah, I want to say they just let that one, I don't want to say let him off, but he was found not guilty or something for, I guess, not running in there was the thing. I didn't follow it.
I believe so.
Yeah, let's look at it. Let's look at the news on that. Good topic. Let's pull that up.
I think the polices was bitches.
Yeah, especially, look, I know they say, well,
job.
What would you have done? And it's like, well, I didn't sign up to be law enforcement. But even as a citizen, I would like to think, look, man, there's children in there. Fuck it. I mean,
if I knew the police weren't going to shoot me for trying to go into the school with a gun,
right?
It's like, hey, let's get a fucking team and go. Fuck these cops. They're waiting too long.
A lot of people just spring into action. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a superhero, but I've done it with car accidents. First one on the scene. Well, I'm not standing around like, I've run up to them before. And then people are like, what are you doing? That car's fucking burning. I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know. It's just somebody was in it in need. And it was just a reaction, So you don't think there's certain situations, you just don't think about yourself for a second. And a lot of times it could lead to harm. But in that situation where there's a shooter in the school and children, I would like to think a lot of us have it in us to say, look, I don't even, it's not even a thought. Just let me go try to stop this shit. And when you're a law enforcement officer, that is your fucking job.
That's what you're there for.
Yeah, right. Well, so what they saying, January 2026, jury acquitted former Uvalde Independent School District police officer Adrian Gonzalez on all 29 counts of child abandonment. Charges stem from his actions or inactions.
Lack of.
Yeah, during the delayed police response to the shooter. Trial took place, blah, blah, blah. He was one of the officers on the scene during the critical early moments, but did not engage the gunman sooner. This was the first criminal trial tied to the law enforcement response's failure. So apparently there's more coming. Of course, families of the victims expressed disappointment. So, yeah, that's a tough one. And like I said, I know it's easy to sit here and be an armchair, quarterback. We're all, like what I would have done. I would just like to think a lot of people would act better when there's children's lives at risk. And especially if you're law enforcement, man. I don't know what all was going on, but I've seen the videos. We've heard the fucking the calls and the radio transmissions that were going on. They took too fucking long. There's no excuse. They took too long. I mean, fuck it. You put on that fucking badge. That means you are there to protect and to serve. And when there's something like that going on in a school, you put your fucking life on the line. Or don't sign up for the job.
Don't sign up.
And look, that's not a knock on law enforcement because we're very pro law enforcement on here. I mean, very much. It's not but to me, you become a different animal when you sign up for that, or you better become, or don't sign up. If you're not willing to die for a school full of children, you don't need to be behind a badge, basically.
Absolutely.
That's just my take on it. I know there's probably some people that will just want to destroy me for saying that. They may have a different take that might make some sense if I was to hear it. I just look at it like that. If you're a police officer, you get judged a little more harshly, as you should, because you chose that role. You chose to play hero.
Yep.
You chose to protect and serve the community. Do it.
Yep. When it's time to be a hero, you can't fucking shut down.
Exactly. When it's time to act and the shit gets real, well, guess what? You're supposed to be on the front lines.
Right, like Hellman's saying, it's the bystander effect, where basically nobody knows what to do, but when you're supposed to be trained and sign up to be law enforcement, you can't be held back from saving lives from an active shooter by the bystander effect. It's like that's not the time to freeze up. That's what you're trained for. You're not trained to sit there and be like, did somebody call 911 yet? It's right. Like you're a fucking cop. Like, and there's multiple of y'all out there. Go.
Well, and also when I hear bystanders, I think of, you go in there blazing guns and there's still children in the place. You know what I mean? So I get that, I get it. It just still seems like it was handled so piss poorly when you watch the evidence from that. And I mean, the point I just made as far as, I guess you don't want cops going in there just guns a-blazing when they don't really know everything that's going on. But I still think they could have acted faster than they did. I just think a lot of it was fear that because, you sign up, but you don't ever expect to be in a situation like that.
Right.
It sounds great. Like, I'm going to be, I'll be a cop, you watch fucking TV shows. It looks exciting. And then all of a sudden there's real bullets flying. And not everybody's built for that shit. Some people are. Some people are. We know one personally. Been through it. Shootouts.
Yeah.
I mean, it would do it again. But loves the shit. That's why he was on SWAT and everything. Just the adrenaline of being in shootouts and shit. This guy can't get enough of it. But some people, it's like when the shit gets real, they're like, oh, fuck, is this what I signed up for? So,
yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, like I said, maybe I'm just judging them too harshly. I guess emotions get kind of riled up when there's children involved. We would all like to think that it could have been done different. Maybe, children's lives could have been saved. So it's a little more emotions involved in these, takes, I guess, when you're talking about stuff like that. So I don't want to be too harsh.
It was
on
too
them.
long.
I believe that. I really do. I do. I'm trying to be nice about it, but I think
if it were a 15-minute span and, the first officers that showed up were like, look, there's two of us, we have to, there's people coming, they are on the way, they're coming. And it took them an extra 10 minutes to enter the school. And they were trying to try them all and bring them all to court. It'd be a little different, but I mean, come on.
Right. So what is Miss Otis here? 3 law enforcement officers in my family. So what is your take on that? I mean, you don't have to write a novel, but do you think them cops acted quick enough, or are we judging them too harshly? And you've got law enforcement in your family. I know law enforcement that they sit there and tell you they did not handle that situation right. Even other law enforcement officers were judging them harshly, saying, look, that's not how you deal with that situation. For one, you don't, the fear emotion needs to get the fuck out. If you're going to put yourself in a situation like that and put on that badge. I mean, I'm not saying you don't want to be afraid to die, but you don't not do your job out of fear. There's a difference. I mean, you should always have that fear. Nobody wants to die, but if it's going to prohibit you from doing your job, you're in the wrong field. And look, I've never been law enforcement. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, but there's a reason I'm not law enforcement. I'm not willing to die for the average citizen.
77 minutes before they confronted the shooter.
That's how long that was?
77
yes,
minutes.
Miss Otis, I'm sorry. Yes, we were speaking of the Uvalde situation. Somebody had brought it up in the chats. I'm sorry. I thought you knew that. But yeah, we're kind of on here saying that they should have acted a lot quicker. And I'm just wondering if we're judging them too harshly.
So it's like
77 minutes?
77 minutes it took them to finally engage with the shooter.
That was from the time of the call, though, the 911, I'm sure. Or were they there for that long? Like, how long were they there on the grounds?
So that was after he entered the school. They didn't breach the classroom until 59 minutes after the shooting began. And I don't believe it took too long for the first cop to get there. Something like, I think Buddy crashed his truck and was acting crazy. So people were already calling law enforcement. Like, it wasn't too long after he was getting in the school that the first law enforcement got there. But 77 minutes. So it's like, think about it. Even if you give the first cops that are just in body armor a break, right?
Right.
Somebody has to be held accountable, because even if you're like, look, we're waiting on SWAT team to get here. Get them there. Make the fucking phone calls. Get the people that need to be there. 77 minutes. Imagine a local school starts getting shot up around here. Our SWAT team's going to be there in minutes. I promise.
I'm trying to see because all I keep seeing is this 77 minutes. It says the shooter, Salvador, entered the school around 11:30. Reached two connecting fourth grade classrooms shortly after. Initial officer, police, and local agencies arrived on scene within minutes. Within minutes, they arrived. They don't say exactly how long, but however, they did not immediately breach the classrooms. Instead, they treated it as a barricaded subject situation, waited for more resources like rifles, shields, and keys, and focused more on evacuating other parts of the school. So that's 77 minutes. Now, like I said, they're saying minutes. I can't get a definite time on how long it took them to get there. So that's 77 minutes. If it took them 10, that's still over an hour they were there with an active shooter and children. It blows my fucking mind. And look, I mean, I guess I get it if he's barricaded in a room. I mean, what do you do? Blow the fucking door down and risk killing the kids that may be living in there? I don't know, man.
For one, it's like, unfortunately, this isn't the first time we've had to deal with a school shooter, right? So
sure.
You're supposed to kind of take stuff that's happened before and learn from it. And, okay, well, especially you would think the police would and say, hey, let's learn tactically from this. How can we get in faster? How can we get to them? I mean, the police were, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm trying not to be a complete liar here, but the police were walking through the Virginia Tech campus and buildings while the shooting was still happening, looking for this dude,
No.
And these guys were like, it's no. That's just like speakers y'all hear in there. It's not shots. Everything's fine. We're just going to hang out here.
I mean, even the U.S. Department of Justice, back then, they were, criticizing them for basically calling it a cascading failures, a lack of urgency, poor command, and treating it like a barricade rather than an active shooter scenario. So it just looks like they were ill prepared.
Absolutely.
It almost reminds me of when we went through Hurricane Katrina down here and nobody knew what the fuck to do, the officials around here, because nothing like that had ever happened. They thought they were prepared. We have levees and we have pumps to pump out water, but none of that shit was working properly because nobody took it that fucking serious because you just get so complacent in everyday life and nothing's bad has happened. So you just forget about all that. And I think that's what a lot of that came from. They just weren't prepared for a situation like this. And unfortunately, it made them look horrible.
It really did.
I don't know what you do. I mean, if you've got a gunman, barricaded in a room and there's probably more children in there, you don't know if they're dead or alive. Well, do you just go beating that fucking door down and hope he don't, start shooting the kids, or you don't accidentally shoot? I mean, I don't know. So it is kind of, judging it without being in that situation a little bit, but just from hearing other law enforcement talk and say, oh no, there's different ways they should have handled that, then it makes you think, okay, well maybe they were wrong then, because you got law enforcement saying that's not how you should have done that. So I don't know. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one.
Well, didn't you vote for defunding the police?
Me? Oh yeah, all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All the way. $0. All the way. Fuck no, man.
Key leaders. Let's see, the key leadership, failure to treat, like I said, the active shooter situation. Officers did not follow standard active shooter protocols. See, that was another problem. So apparently they had protocols that they didn't follow. That makes it look even worse. They misclassified it as a barricaded subject. So, that they misclassified that whole scenario and treated it like that when they shouldn't have.
Right.
Lack of command and control. There was no clear incident commander was established or effectively exercised authority for much of the response. So they're all looking around at each other like, who the fuck's in charge? I don't know. What are you doing? Well, so that was piss poor right there. I mean, it eventually one of them did. The former police chief assumed command but did not declare himself incident commander. So he failed to coordinate unified action and made decisions like not ordering a breach sooner. And he later claimed he wasn't in charge, creating confusion. So they didn't know what the fuck was going on in that.
Yeah.
They were so incapable of handling a situation like this, apparently. I mean, the DOJ described it as an epic and complete lack of leadership.
It seems like it. And Eric brings up a great point of dogs are a thing. Police have dogs.
Fucking right.
Send dogs in.
Send
they take
dogs
motherfuckers down all the time.
Well, the problem from what I see is, and I guess they could have used it in that situation too, the dogs, but yeah, when they classified this as a barricaded subject and I guess
they just assumed everybody was dead.
They just assumed everybody was out. Well, then they looked at it more like a negotiation type thing. Like, okay, let's everybody, chill out. Let's just see if we can get this person out. So from the very beginning of just misclassifying that was a major fuck up. And that looks like where it all just kind of steamrolled from. Then once they realize, oh shit, this is bigger than that. Then they don't even know who the fuck's in charge.
Yeah.
Nobody's wanting to say, oh, I got it. Nobody stepped up as the leader, But they said poor decision making and prioritization. The officers prioritize evacuating uninjured students and staff over rescuing those in the classrooms with the shooter, despite knowing children were being shot. So they were, like you said, more worried about getting the people that weren't in any more danger, so to say, or at least uninjured, instead of concentrating fully on where this asshole was with them kids. What else they complained about? Delays in gathering resources were cited as unnecessary. Officers had enough personnel and enough equipment to act earlier, but waited. Some officers focused on crowd control outside, restraining frantic parents and shit like that, rather than the threat inside. Big one here, which we mentioned it, inadequate training and preparation. I mean, many responders lacked recent or sufficient active shooter training because, like you said, that just kind of goes away out your mind because it's never happened before, so you don't even think about it. What did they say? There was no unified multi-agency plan or drills for such scenarios involving school police. So yeah, just lack of being prepared is what it really boils down to. The whole thing.
So what it seems like,
yeah,
all the way up the chain.
They said radios and interagency communications failed or were not used effectively. Critical information like the children still alive and calling 911 from in the fucking school with the shooter wasn't relayed promptly or acted upon. So they had fucking phone calls coming in from children. Misinformation was spread, initial false reports of the shooter being dead. So, yeah, I mean, some of that shit's like it is. It's just bad information they're getting, so I get it. It's a chaotic scene.
It seems like a big fuck up from all around. Like I don't think it's anything you can put on one person, but it's like everybody that was supposed to not fuck up, fucked up.
And that must be why that guy got off today, the Gonzalez guy. Yeah, because it's hard. But they are say that Pete Arredondo, I think is how you pronounce his name, the police chief. He's remains the primary figure facing charges. So he's still got to go through this. He was the one that, I'm in charge. Oh, I'm not in charge. I don't know what's going. He's the damn chief. This is who it really should fall on for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to have your.
It's kind of his job,
you would think. It's another one. If you ain't ready for it, don't take it. You took the job. Well, now you take the consequences that come with this job. So. Oh, man, let's see. What Matt say? Hard to prepare for deadly situations. Should done better, but tough, man. That's true. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is hard, especially when something like that's never happened in your community.
Yes, man. I feel like it's hard for citizens, but like, what the fuck you're there for?
That's
what you're there for.
Yeah, it's tough to cut them a lot of slack when, like I said, you sign up for that stuff and. I don't know, man. Just piss poor readiness, I guess.
It's absolutely a learning experience, Big. And I hope every law enforcement agency in the nation is watching this trial go down and learning from it, and learning what to do right.
It's true.
Because, I mean, mistakes have to happen for us to, advance and you learn how to do shit better. So, oh man.
Well, and we did even when the ones that kick it off, them Columbine boys.
Yeah.
That was a learning experience for schools all around the fucking country. I mean, because something like that's the first time I recall anything like that happening in a school, anything that major. And before that, dude, it was just a free for all. I mean, when I went to school, we had guns in our cars. In the back, you drive your truck, you got a fucking shotgun or something right behind you on the in the back window.
Right.
Nobody said a fucking word. You do that nowadays, We'll try that
Good
nowadays.
luck.
Pull up to a high school with a fucking rifle in your window.
Yeah, get within 500 feet of one.
Yeah. It just wasn't a thing back then. You never heard about that, man. And then these boys decided, like, you know what? We're about to fuck some shit up. And then it,
they sure the fuck did.
Yeah, now a lot of these schools, man, you can't even walk in them without being buzzed in, which is good. I mean, I know some people, it shouldn't be like a prison, but if that saves kids, let it be like a prison. They bitch about the security being there and police being there and armed guards in schools. And, it's not, we don't, like I said, it's a prison environment. I'm thinking, well, when your kids go to that fucking school and some dickhead tries to get in it to do harm and they take this asshole out, you're going to be glad he was there, and you'll be glad they got to buzz somebody in instead of just the free for all, just walk through the door and start doing what you want.
Yeah, and look, I will say I went to Jumpstart, which is the local expulsion school, right? And dude, I mean, in the mornings we'd have to line up outside the school and walk in, and you go through metal detectors and everything like that. But it was safe.
Well, yeah, and that was even a little more harsh because it was a bunch of knucklehead kids in there that couldn't make it in regular school because y'all don't know how to act. So that was even
safe,
more. That's
what
I mean. So they needed it in places like that. The metal detectors and all. I mean, it was a necessity because you got kids in there that act out in regular school, and some of them are violent. So it's a necessary evil, man. And, some people don't like it. It just makes the situation just look crazy when you're walking into school through metal detectors and shit. But man, look, if it saves a life, fuck it, I'm all for it. Like when they started putting armed cops in all these schools, I'm like, fuck yeah, damn right. They need more. They need more than one.
And that's what I was going to comment on, Paul. Is there's absolutely no reason there should be a firearm in a school unless there's security. And I agree. Like some people, may argue that teachers should be armed, but I don't feel like that's really their job. You know, it's like, no, why doesn't the school board hire cops, hire security, and that's your job, is protect the fucking school?
Yeah. Well, I want to let me see. I saw in the chats right there in the UK. And I want to get to that one and what Baked Biscuit just said. But in the UK schools have a buzzing system with often teachers being able to walk around through corridors that had electrical keys for. Yeah, we got the buzzing things here. Shouldn't even be security. And yeah, I'm saying security. Around here, it's actual law enforcement officers. It's the local sheriffs that they'll just pick a sheriff officer that he gets to protect his school, So I'm calling them security. I just mean that they're securing the place, But no, it's actual cops, and I like it. It don't bother me. Every morning I drop my daughter off, she's fucking 7 years old. There's a police officer standing out there, greeting the kids. The kids love them.
I don't remember going to school around here and there not being a resource officer at school.
I do. Of course, I'm older than you, but yeah, when I was there, wasn't anything like that when I was in high school.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, as far as me being in school, like every school I've been to has always had a cop there all day long.
Yeah, because your fucking generation made it to where they had to. You fucking idiots. You're the Dylan Klebold or the fuck them pipe bomb fucks were in Columbine, that's your fucking age group. Like I said, I'm an age group right before you, and it was unheard of. Like I said, we went to school with guns. Nobody cared. Fucking school didn't give a fuck. We didn't hide them. They were just there, but now, when you see a gun, like I said, it's on the hip of a police officer, and I love it, man. I love it when you pull up, your kid's it's okay. It's going to be, it's a safe day, because if nothing else, it's a deterrent. You know how these criminals are. They pick the weakest links. That's why they do that shit in them schools that they can do it in. They want to harm the weakest people in society, and they want to take the path of least resistance, which is a gun-free fucking zone with no protection at all.
Yep.
And, so to see a cop walking around these schools and these fucking doors you can't even get in, I love it.
We couldn't even draw guns. You drew anything that looked like a gun, you was going to the principal's office.
It got bad in them schools. You're right. Yeah.
And
draw guns and
Bake said in the 90s when he was in high school, we didn't have cops in there, and so that's a little bit before my time too. I was born in the 90s, so I probably wasn't in school until like 02, I guess.
Yeah.
It was around my first school year.
Was Paul talking about? Oh, cops. 58. My high school had a cop. Damn. See, mine didn't. I don't know. Then maybe they had a few just in different parts of the country.
Or you just had a badass high school.
Yeah. So, where'd you go? Compton? Fuck. Mine didn't. That kid, look, enough students had guns. So if somebody decided to pop some stupid shit off, they were coming back at him. And it's crazy, man, the amount of firearms I seen just parking in the school parking lot. But everybody was hunters down here. That's all it was about, you know. It's just some people go hunting before or after school. I mean, it was just a big hunting community, and it wasn't nothing to see shotguns and rifles and whatever, man. It was,
and Miss Otis is kind of commenting on how times have changed. I worked in our public schools for 25 years. The stories I could tell you would knock your socks off. The inmates are running the asylum, and it's true. Yeah. I mean, I saw it a little bit in like public school, but the expulsion school was really where it was like, oh no, I am not like these kids. Like,
yeah, and that
ridiculous.
Was the school you went to where you don't know how to act. You know, that was more of just somewhere to have these kids just babysat all day long and just try not to let them get in trouble, you know, at them. Yeah. What do they call them, man? It ain't the expulsion. I forget the term they use for them, but you know, it was a school, like you said, where the kids go like yourself that can't stay out of fucking trouble. Yeah. But they're not there to teach you shit. No. They're there to hope y'all don't act like idiots all day long. So it's just, you know, let's just get through the day. You know,
pretty much,
get through the day, and hopefully we don't have to call the police on any of these kids.
Pretty much. It was, alternative school is what they called it.
Alternative. That there you go. Alternative. I know they used a nice term for it instead of, you know, where the fuck ups go.
No, dude, I got in there and I was like, all right, no, it's past bad. Like, these kids are retarded. Like, this is rough. These motherfuckers don't know how to act at all. It's like, it's not even that they're just like bad. It's like they just can't control themselves. Yeah, like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
It's bad home training, you know. Like, you really don't blame anything like that on a kid, you know. I mean, it's just somebody, there ain't no telling the households they come from and the life that some of them grew up with. But like I said, some of them were violent, you know. I mean, it ain't nowhere you want to be. I guess it's like being locked up in juvenile detention, you know.
Yeah.
Which been there, done that. Huh?
So much. It's all, and then that makes alternative school look like regular high school. You get in there, and I mean, I was 7th, 8th grade, and the schools in the juvenile detention center were on like 3rd grade base reading levels. Like, that's the books. Like, get in there, and we're doing language arts on Cat in the Hat. You know, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with these people in here? I can't. So I was like, yeah, no. Just around a bunch of dumbasses all day.
Yep. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. It's 11 o'clock over here by us. Y'all make sure you hit that subscribe button if you ain't done it yet. And we'll be back probably Monday back on here talking some shit. So that's about it, dude. I'm tired.
Yep.
I want to fucking watch some. What is it? King of Queens. That's what I'm going to watch. So
hell yeah.
Till next time, y'all be good. Justin, tell them later.
Bye.